taking their chances that they can find work when they start up again next year.
David, the Cowboys have had two guys, Marcus Canady and Stephen Guidry.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
This should do it. Go tie. And that's 300 wins for Tom Glavine, the 23rd player in the history to do it. Only time will tell if he's the last to do it. But the night is his.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Here's Elliott on 2nd and 4. First down and more. Stays upright. Touchdown, Elliott.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Start from their own 28. Here's Charlie Brewer with time. He'll take a shot down the field. Denzel Mims is there, and he's got it. What a throw and catch.
Have you downloaded the SicEm365 Radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, here we go. Stick your head in a tank of gasoline and light it with a match, and we start with the news today that Maceo Teague will return for his senior year. One of two players that Baylor was monitoring. He will be back, and we'll have Maceo in an hour. Jason King, 345, breaks it down, but Baylor head basketball coach Scott Drew joins us on SicEm365 Radio. I know there's one more decision out there, but how happy are you from the one you got today?
Oh, our staff is extremely excited, and our players are really excited. And, Maceo's a great basketball player, but he's also a great person, a great teammate, such a good leader and energy giver. I know everybody's really excited.
With the way the draft process works now for you guys, is it a little easier than it used to be when, now that they can go out and come back and you don't necessarily have to do any kind of hard sell? You can give them your opinion and just let them go out in the world and see what happens?
Well, I think what the NBA and the NCAA have done a really good job of is trying to provide players with better and more accurate information than they maybe got in the previous time. And what I mean by that is normally anyone when they're going out, they're working with an agent, and an agent makes money if they go out, and they don't get paid if they come back to college. So normally that information is going to be a little tilted that way. And a lot of times college coaches can tilt information because they want players to come back. And really, at the end of the day, what every coach and I would think good agent and any family member would want is accurate information. And that way you get what you sign up for. And too often in the draft, someone thinks they're going to get drafted at a certain location or position, and that doesn't happen. And now they're mad, and now the colleges are mad because they could have come back and finished their degree and could have had a chance to maybe get drafted at that position. And it's just like any parent, when your kids are upset, you're upset, but especially you're upset when you think things were going to go a little different than they did. So I know that's a long-winded answer, but the NBA with the advisory board and just the way that they pass on information now, I think players get a more accurate count of where their position might be. And then some of them get to decide, if it's not guaranteed money, I want to come back. If it's not what I'm thinking, I want to come back and improve on that.
Scott, when did you have an indication of what Maceo was planning on doing? And when he relayed that information, how did he kind of tell you and the staff?
Well, Maceo's a guy that likes to surprise people, and he wanted to break it today. He wanted I thought his video was outstanding. But all along, he wanted to keep that to himself, and he would ask us opinions and thoughts along the way. But he holds his cards close to the vest, so we're really excited because, again, I know he was a joy to coach last year, and we feel like we didn't get a chance to really finish what we started out to accomplish last year, and really excited that he's going to be a part of that. I know our players are really excited to have him back on the team.
Scott, do you feel like this decision has any influence at all on what Jared Butler might do?
Well, I think, first of all, everyone's always going to make a decision that's best in their interest and their family's interest, but definitely everybody likes to play on a good team. Everyone wants to play on a team that has a chance to win a championship. So I know Jared, like everybody else, is excited about this news.
Scott, you've had, obviously there's some things you can't talk about, but you guys have had a couple of really good weeks here the last 2.5, 3 weeks. What is?
Yeah, I'm knocking on wood right now because it's been a great couple weeks. That's for certain.
I mean, you're on a really good phone call streak right now. Have you documented everything you guys are doing so you can, like in baseball, they don't jump on the white lines or stuff like that?
Yeah. Well, I have washed my boxers, so I'm not wearing the same ones every day, and the same with the socks. But I can tell you, it is exciting because I know. From when our season ended last year to just what the country's gone through, and obviously the uncertainty with how COVID's going to play out. I know we've had a lot of stuff to be excited about. I know Baylor Nation, Baylor fans out there have to be really excited about the news in the last couple of weeks.
Well, they're certainly excited, about what he's going to do on the court, Scott. But I know that you care for your players on a deeper level than that as well. Maceo, the person, we maybe don't get to see him as often because what we do see is, him in action most of the time. But for those that don't know him on a level like you do, what can you tell us about Maceo Teague, the person?
Well, Maceo is an old soul. I mean, he loves just hanging out in our offices and talking with us, and some people are more mature than their years, or Maceo's one of those guys that has always felt, even when he was at Asheville, their coaching staff would say he loves talking with older people and picking their brain, and it's great to just have those adult conversations. And he's inquisitive, but the consistency he provides on a daily basis of the energy he brings to practice and the maturity in which he does that. I think, again, he's a 23-year-old that acts like he's 35 in a lot of great ways. And, again, coaches always want consistency. And Maceo is somebody that definitely gives that on and off the court.
I know we have you for a short amount of time. You've got many things. Just pick up the phone. It's probably gold on the other side. But your thoughts about him, you talk about, and Craig asked you this as well, but he's a guy that leads by example. He and Jared are the ones that when I left the game one day, they were the ones in the back practice gym firing up shot after shot after shot. And I know that Maceo puts on a show in the weight room or his weights that he might have where he lives. Is that also as important? I know the talent, it matters, but how much just those two guys is what they represent leadership-wise also bring back if Jared comes back or not?
And see, that's a great observation on your part from the standpoint. We always say actions speak louder than words, and Maceo, Jared are very good leaders, but their actions speak even louder. And they go to class, they do well in the classroom, they treat people the right way, they're always on time where they need to be, where they should be. Great role models and examples for the young people they come in contact with. But from a basketball standpoint, really boring lives. And what I mean by that is they spend a ton of time in the gym. And because of that time in the gym, that's why they're the players that they are. But at the same time, as you know, when we always like to say when three of us are rooming together and two of us are in the gym, that third one is probably going to be in the gym. If two of us are playing video games or out partying, the third one's probably going to be doing that. And Macio's work ethic motivates, inspires, and helps bring other people along, as well as several of our other guys on the team, which is why we've been so successful, is that work mentality they have.
Thank you very much, Scott, for jumping on with us to start the show. We appreciate it. We have Maceo in an hour. Jason King, who breaks it down as well as anybody can. He'll join us at 3:45. Thank you for starting us off as the leadoff hitter.
Hey, well, thank you, and thank you to Maceo that we got more good news.
I know.
We're going to keep trying to give you good news, all right?
Well, hopefully there's going to be one more of these. Yeah, absolutely.
We like that, too. You guys take care. Have a blessed day.
Scott Drew, men's basketball coach at Baylor. By the way, the Baylor football team today got some great news. Dylan Doyle, Craig, the linebacker from Iowa, has been cleared to play. Is that right?
Yeah, he's received his NCAA waiver. You'll remember that he decided to transfer to Baylor after his father was let go at Iowa. That put him in kind of a precarious position of, do I stick around here? And it would just be weird. I think we all see where it would be kind of weird for him. So, yeah, he decided to look elsewhere. It didn't take him long to, I guess, get in a conversation with Baylor and make the decision to join this team. So you look at the defense, and you do have a tremendously incredible player in Terrell Bernard coming back already, and you feel good about some of the young talent, but having a guy like Dylan Doyle, who himself is still somewhat of a young talent with great size and instincts and things like that, that's a really big pickup for this defense this year.
So you have William Bradley King, the pass rusher, the edge rusher, because they need that with what happened with Lynch leaving. Then you get Dylan Doyle, who adds to the depth at linebacker and could start. And then you have some of the junior. By the way, I just noticed that Cam Howler, running back, is on their roster. He was a dude at Marshall High School, and he came from Cisco. I guess that one came underneath my radar. I didn't see that. Did you?
Never heard of him.
He's a guy that can carry it a lot, whether he ever gets a chance to do that. And then on top of that, Lorando Johnson, who signed with LSU, ends up at Baylor. And I might be missing a couple of others. There's the Walcott, who's a junior college signee, the kid from Kansas.
Incoming guy who will certainly, make it interesting at cornerback. You have Kalen Barnes back, obviously. You've got Riley Tejada as well, who's maybe one of the more underappreciated players over the last couple of years. But I would think those two guys you kind of pencil in as your starters, although you are going to have some JUCOs like Walcott coming in. You're going to have some of your younger guys who have sort of been marinating for a little while. But, the Dylan Doyle news is big time for this team, that he's automatically eligible. I mean, I think he'll contend for a whole heck of a lot of playing time. And, William Bradley King obviously was somebody they're very, very excited about. So to your point, I mean, you've got Terrell Bernard and William Bradley King and Dylan Doyle. That's some pretty good pieces, but you got a lot of young linebackers like Tyrone Brown and Will Garner, and Victor Obie's another newcomer from Kilgore College. I think he's going to take some time to maybe put on some maybe change his body a little bit. Maybe that's who me and Grayson were talking about a few weeks back. But regardless, point being, they have options, and they've been able to kind of retool this thing in a short amount of time.
All right, when we come back, Ray Biles on the news last night that would have been our lead today. And yes, the Astros-Dodgers will be a part of the discussion, but the lead today would have been McLennan County rescinded their order and high school athletics back to normal. I was on a thread last night with multiple coaches. I'll kind of share something that I saw with all the now trying to get games. Like La Vega and Conley are going to play each other twice just to fill 2 games. It's a scramble. Nobody wants to play Mart. They're smart to not play Mart. But hopefully we can get Kevin Hoffman lined up for some things as well. Ray Biles, the godfather now of high school football in Central Texas, will join us next on SicEm365 Radio. I went by today at Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Erie Drive and picked up what I get every month, a product. Bone-in ribeyes, and these are dudes, alpha dogs, thick, beautiful bone-in ribeyes. Also, several thick bacon-wrapped fillets, and then also a bag of what is deveined and just tails on with shrimp. So to cook something, just stir fry, or maybe even put it in jambalaya, or if I ever wanted to make gumbo anytime soon, or etouffee. But guess what else they have now? This is an everyday deal with Brian Bauer and what they're doing at Waco Custom Marketplace. Down inside, I saw this. There's a women's summer survival pack, $20. 2 pieces of 8-ounce bacon-wrapped fillets, a bundle of asparagus, and 2 19.2 ounces of seltzer of choice. That's that White Claw of choice. And then yet again, even more. They have pre-cooked meals. There's chicken spaghetti, meatloaf, Texas lasagna, all of that available now, which is over in the bakery section. It's constant, and up and down the aisles, you have your convenience store needs, whether it's canned tomato like Rotel tomatoes or Velveeta cheese or green beans or even chips and pasta and seasonings and sauces. Wow. They do it all. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco. Dr. Kent Petty wants you to be the highest performance man you want to be. Are you sluggish, lack energy? Do you suffer from low sex drive? Petty Clinic Low T offers discounted comprehensive lab work to check on your various levels that can make a difference. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy and stamina and improved sex drive, but also the healthiest and high performance man. Screening for cardiac heart disease risk, EKG, cholesterol panel, blood pressure monitoring, testosterone or growth hormone deficiency, male infertility, hepatitis C, and prostate cancer screening. Petty Clinic Low T offers replacement therapy for testosterone or growth hormones, weight management therapy, and nutritional advice. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy, stamina, and improved sex drive, but the healthiest and highest performance man. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com on Old Hewitt Road, just off Highway 84 in Woodway. PettyClinicLowT.com.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home. How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of health care while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of health care has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The SicEm365 radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
Well, we have one of those where it's a show with constant just guests. We'll have Hall of Fame pitcher Tom Glavine. We just had Scott Drew. Maceo Teague at 4. But the godfather of Central Texas high school football coaches, who has watched the emotional roller coaster of what they can or cannot do at Lorena and elsewhere in McLennan County, Ray Biles joins us. Ray, what was last night like when you saw that the shutdown in McLennan County had been overturned?
Well, I mean, we were so excited just for our kids and our programs. And I'm just talking about my program. I'm talking about all the way across the board. And I think that was the unique thing. There were so many coaches out there that were working for just the kids in our community to give them a safe environment to compete and to push forward in. And so we were excited about it, obviously. But like you said, I've been excited several times the last couple of weeks and only to be deflated. So anyway, it was wonderful.
How much scrambling have you done already to make sure your schedule gets right back to where you need it to be, and how much do you have left to do?
We're intact, really. We were blessed. I was very transparent with the folks we had in a non-district situations and told them, this is what we're facing, this is what we're doing. And guys, quite honestly, if Monday they're practicing and we weren't practicing, I was, going to have to tell them, hey, you go ahead and take care of your kids and your school and your schedule. So fortunately, we didn't get to that, but these guys were very, very understanding and did a great job of working with us and hanging in there with us and giving us an opportunity to see this whole thing work its way out.
Coach, is this one of the best examples you could think of as far as not letting the highs get too high or the lows get too low?
True. I mean, you got to stay in the middle of it because, I can drag my lip all I want to, but, when I get with my kids, it's upbeat and we got to be positive. We got to find a way to go get it done. So, but again, it's just life and athletics are such a parallel. Things happen in an athletic situation just like they do in life. So what do? You quit, you shut it down, or you keep grinding. You just got to keep working and keep your nose to the stone. Let's go.
I told this story that I stopped in a way, but I guess I did finish it out. But last night when this decision came down, I'd been in a thread with a lot of you guys to get guests and ADs and superintendents and others. And then all of a sudden, everyone starts saying, I need 1, 3, and 5. All of a sudden, it went from exhilaration to stress to try to fill games. Mark, of course, nobody wants to play them. And then, of course, Conley and La Vega are going to probably play twice just to fill a game that they've lost. But it was a good tension, a good stress, because it was about trying to get games to be played. You mentioned this, but I was amazed. Guys who want to beat each other up when they play, how the McLennan County head football coaches and ADs and others came together as one during really these last, 8 to 9 days until last night's decision.
Well, that's so true. We got together about a week ago over at Midway, and kudos to them for being able to host that, and Commissioner Perry being able to meet and listen to us and interact with us and get a feel for where we were and what we had been doing with our kids and where we were in this whole process. And, just a voice, that was all we really wanted is can we find some common ground here? But back to your original deal. This profession is awesome, Smoke. I mean, it really is. You're right. We want to win. We're going to compete. If we didn't want to compete, we'd go, I'd be painting, I'd do something else. Anyway, so, the opportunity to compete is huge. And you're just in a situation where, you want to beat them, but doggone it. Boy, these guys are so good at what they do. You better be prepared. And yet, like I said earlier, it wasn't about, Lorena. It was about, the kids that are, over at China Spring. It was about the kids that are out at Mart. It was about the kids over at La Vega. We were trying to do some things to make sure that those kids had a chance to do that, chance to compete. Yes, we're going to take care of them, and yes, we're going to protect them and do everything that we need to do. But, we just wanted those kids that have that opportunity, and we're very, very excited to have that.
Coach, when you said that you'd be painting, I just had this image in my head of you still competing. Like you and me, we're going to draw this bowl of fruit right now. Like who's ever done first? That's the winner.
You win. I don't know. I'm not much on fruit bowls. I don't know. I don't think I could do it.
Well, I think what I say is you're a competitor. You know that, like you said, that's what you want. And for these kids, especially the seniors, like there's got to be a pit in everyone's stomach about the chance for guys not to get seen playing if they want to go to the next level, or just getting the experience of playing in their senior year.
Well, that's true. I mean, we saw it unfold last spring, unfortunately, for a group of seniors that didn't have an opportunity to finish out the year the way we had all hoped it would happen. And then here we go again. It is. It's taxing on them. It's like, I've put in an awful lot of work. And like you said, a lot of these kids, here's the situation. Some of these kids are just now getting into that stage where physically they got a chance to play. You know what I'm saying? They've been smaller, maybe weaker, maybe not as quick, but now, physically they've caught up with the rest of the world, and they've got, 10 games out there to go play and do it. And, we always stress with our guys, if you want an opportunity to go play at the next level, we'll find a place. There are always opportunities for you to go play. So anyway, not that that's the prime reason that we're here in the education business, but if we have an opportunity to help a young man move on in life and further himself and get better because he can further his education through athletics, awesome.
Coach, what have you learned throughout this whole ordeal over the last 4 months or so? I mean, everybody's dealing with this new reality and everything like that, but what lessons or I guess maybe ideas on ways things can be better moving forward have crept up in your mind during the last 4 months?
Well, now things that I would never have thought were normal seem normal. You wear a mask, and it's not, you pull it up over your face. You keep your distance when you're in a store. I mean, there's just things you do now that, back in March is like, oh, give me a break. You would never even think about it. But now, common courtesy for, your fellow man, you do what you need to do to make this whole thing work. So I think that's critical. But, one of the other things that we talk to our kids all the time about is, hey, you control whatever you can control, but you don't control everything, so the small pieces of life that you do control, that you can take care of, and that you do have some influence on, do your best at that. And then the rest of that stuff, you can worry about it till, forever. You just got to let it go and try to control the things you can. We walked through with our kids this last couple of weeks. We told them we don't know what we're going to. We may only have a 6-game season, guys. If that happens, that happens. Do we have any control? No, sir. Then let's go do what we can do about it. So anyway, fortunately, hopefully we'll all stay healthy and do this in the proper way. And I have no doubt the guys in Flint County are going to do it in the proper way to take care of the kids and programs. And hopefully we'll be able to put that good football out there on Friday night for folks.
Ray, if you could quickly, because we're up against a break, is that if anyone says that, for example, we just got a text, it's a shame that others are putting high school football ahead of the safety of the kids, what would your reaction and response be to that person?
Well, the first thing I would ask is, where are those kids? Are they going to sit at home, look out the window, and read a book? I mean, we know that's not happening. They're not practicing safe distancing at all. I mean, if we've got them in a school environment, they're over here with us every day. I know what's going to happen up in that classroom. I know where they're going to be. I know who's watching over them. I know they're going to have a mask. I know they're going to, go through the sanitation process. I know they're going to have to check off on the health screen. I know. Is that going to happen out on the road? Is that going to happen out on the street? Again, and I said I've driven by so many backstops and everything in the last few weeks and seen people just, there is no concern for what's going on from that standpoint. We are going to take care of our kids. Is somebody going to get sick? It may happen. I'm not saying that, but I am going to say this. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure that, our kids are safe and our coaches are safe and then our environment is safe. And that's, we're going to follow the rules that we've been handed, and we will do that.
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate your time. Ray Biles, 80 football coach at Lorena, on the overturning of the decision of the health department of McLennan County and the city of Waco to let everyone move on, start back up. And Robin said, I talked with Jay Zeller, their AD. He just released something. They're going to probably not really get into football until possibly even another week, but they're going to start working out strength and conditioning on Monday, as everyone else will as well. Tom Glavine, next on SicEm365 Radio. So what did you do to start your day? You wake up, you have breakfast, you go to work, you do what you do. How many of you thought or have thought about wanting to somehow get yourself fit or better shape or lose weight? And it may not even be that. It may not even be losing weight or inches. It might just be feeling better. and giving yourself an option to take on stress that you have in your life. And it may not even be much stress, or it could be something very, very traumatic. Working out has allowed me, on days when things can be tough, no matter what reason, to just close my eyes or go to a class or work out or do something on my own, like run around where I live and think about everything. And I learned that from my personal trainer in Christy London. You can learn it from her or Randall Corley or from the 40-plus group exercise classes that Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness offers every single week. A tennis academy with Joe Rosa and Britt Coleman, with adult and youth tennis clinics, camps, and lessons. This place is having a great time. They're renovating part of the inside because they're expanding and making it even better. And it was already fantastic. They have whirlpool and spa facilities and sauna, both the men's and women's locker rooms. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Every man knows that you got to get it right in the bed. Hey there, Jay from Pickup Outfitters here to talk about a sensitive issue and asking you, please, don't drive around town exposing your stuff. Please, cover that truck bed. This is a very serious form of truck nudity. Trucks without bed covers, and it's an easy fix. There are so many different types of covers depending on your needs and style, from folding, rolling, locking, retractable, anything from black to silver, even paint to match the original cover of your truck. All these are hard, rigid covers, just like they should be. Now, there are also some soft bed covers, but you know. So don't be driving around with a bare truck bed. It's like letting people peek underneath your covers. It just ain't right. See the different types of bed covers at createacommotion.com/covers. Won't you help us end truck nudity? Stop by our showroom and see all our bed cover displays at Pickup Outfitters, just off of Waco Drive at 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Summertime means vacation time, and while this summer may be different, at Allen Samuels, you can always count on our huge summer clearance event. It's on. Brand spanking new 2020 Ram Lone Star Crew Cabs. Now 0% financing for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or choose up to $10,250 in total values. America's most loyal half-ton pickup owners are Ram owners. It's time to say goodbye. Adios, 2020s from Allen Samuels. Ask for details.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
This is SicEm365 Radio.
This should do it. Go tie. And that's 300 wins for Tom Glavine, the 23rd player in the history to do it. Only time will tell if he's the last to do it. But the night is his.
The SicEm365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
We were very fortunate to have the Hall of Famer himself, Tom Glavine, on one of our earlier shows back when we launched in April the 6th. And here we are now. Baseball has started back up again. There's a hiccup in Miami. And to have him again is phenomenal. Tom Glavine joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Tom, thank you very, very much. What are your thoughts about what happened between the Dodgers and Astros? Is that just something that was imminent, get it out of the way, or is this going to be a lingering thing in your opinion?
Well, it's news. I don't know exactly what happened, but I guess I can surmise what happened. But I would guess I think it's probably one of those things that just is going to happen. Let's get it over with and move on. I mean, I would probably be wrong to say that it's the last time something's going to happen with Houston this year. But I think in the Dodgers case, they probably felt like they had a little bit more reason for payback, so to speak, than maybe some other teams.
The Marlins have this outbreak, and part of it, we're not sure all of it, but there are reports about guys, going to Magic City in Atlanta and doing things. These are professional athletes. If they can't, get it together to kind of follow protocol, how doomed could the season be if other teams, would follow suit or don't learn from this?
Well, it could be very doomed, but hopefully your latter comment, people learn from this. I mean, it's the kind of thing that if people aren't going to take it seriously, then this Marlins situation should make them take it seriously. And I think that for the most part, it's a pretty selfish thing for guys individually on a team or for a team collectively to put themselves in a position like that and then ultimately put the season in jeopardy for other players on other teams and maybe for the whole league. I mean, this is not a normal situation, and by no means is it an easy situation. But at the same time, you're essentially talking about 30 days on the road, right? And, yeah, it's going to be out of the norm, and it's going to be an adjustment. But, I mean, if you can't handle 30 days on the road, then, I don't know what to tell you. But I guess all I can say is I hope with this Marlins situation, guys start to get a better understanding of how serious this is. And how easily the season could be gone for everybody. And I think guys need to understand that not only do they have a responsibility to themselves, their teammates, their families, they have a responsibility to everybody else in baseball because it's not going to work if guys don't take it seriously.
Tom, now that we've had about a week's worth of games at this point, just what have been your impressions on the way the game has looked? It's obviously different with the no fans. That's the biggest thing missing. But what have been your impressions of just the way the game has looked and appeared here over this first few games?
I would say in terms of the game itself, I think it's very similar to what you would have seen in early April coming out of spring training is that, the pitchers are a little bit ahead of the hitters right now. And I think that's the norm. It's probably a little bit more so right now because, even given that scenario in spring training, guys haven't had nearly the at-bats in this second go-round of spring training that they normally would to get ready for the season. So I think that might be a little bit more exaggerated right now that the pitchers have a little bit of an advantage. But as far as the game itself, I think the game's been fine. I mean, I know for me, broadcasting games, there are some things that are certainly different. I was telling somebody the other day, I'm coming to the ballpark in Atlanta. The Braves are in Tampa. And as I'm walking into the ballpark, it's cloudy, looks like it's going to start raining. And I'm thinking, God, I hope we don't have a rain delay. And then I remember, well, we're not here, so it doesn't really matter. So I think you have those moments where you kind of forget, which maybe is a good sign because it does make you believe that there's a little bit of normalcy. But it's different calling games from Atlanta off of a monitor when the team's on the road. But I think for the most part, people that I've talked to, friends of mine, what have you, that are watching games at home, they all seem to feel like it's pretty seamless. And they kind of forget that that there's nobody in the stadium until there's a wide shot of the stadium. So I think the product has been pretty good, but there's clearly it's clearly different given the circumstances.
Tom, we saw Verlander get shut down. They're still not sure exactly what it is. They mentioned forearm initially. It was not even. It looked like it was worse. And then, of course, Kluber, who's had some problems, he gets shut down by the Rangers as well, and there's a few others. Is that, you think, because of the start-and-go factor, or is that just something that happens no matter if the season was normal?
I mean, I think, you always have guys get hurt, right? That's part of the game. I know going back to my own experiences, when we came back from the strike in 94, had a shortened spring training and then started the season in 95, that was a concern. It was a concern that with a shortened spring training, pitchers were going to get hurt. Is that the only reason for what we're seeing? Probably not. I think it's some combination of maybe guys were a little bit rushed and maybe didn't have their normal preparation, and maybe a combination of guys had some lingering things coming in, and those caught up with them too. So I think it's a little bit of all of the above, but I think that's always the main concern when you have a shortened spring training, is that your pitchers are going to get hurt. And let's face it, spring training by most everybody's account is 2 weeks too long, and it's all for the pitchers. It's all to extend the pitchers, the starting pitchers to get more pitches. It's for relief pitchers to have a few more appearances and maybe some back-to-back appearances. So that's the risk you run when you have a shortened spring training, is that you don't get through those experiences in spring training.
Tom, I have a good friend, Melissa Green, who's a lifelong Braves fan, and she sent me a question to ask you when we had you on today. And she wanted to know, because she was such a big fan of yours, and pitchers now are all about, strikeouts and velocity and all these things. Who is a Tom Glavine-esque pitcher that is pitching right now in Major League?
Man, that's a good question. I would say Dallas Keuchel would certainly be somebody. Other lefties that are in the game, maybe what's his name from the Nationals? I can't think of his name at the moment, but
Gio Gonzalez?
No, not Gio, the other guy, the guy that signed the big contract to go there last year. Corbin, that's it, Corbin.
Yeah.
So I think, maybe some similarities there, but I mean, I think even in today's game with lefties who maybe aren't the flamethrowers, I would say the majority of them are more curveball is their big secondary pitch, whereas mine was my changeup. So, but I would say Dallas Keuchel, simply from the fact that, he's going to hit 90 every once in a while, but he pitches on both sides of the plate, changes speeds all the time, and tries to keep the ball out of the middle. And I think if you can do that, you can pitch in this league at any velocity, but certainly everybody's enamored with velocity.
Tom, we had a little pop quiz that we do every week for our website, and one of the questions we had this week is, what do you think the hardest position in all of sports is? And there's obviously a lot of great options, but I eventually landed on pitcher, because you guys are going one-on-one with the best players every outing, multiple times in a game, and there's so many other factors to it, but where do you consider the pitching position as far as the toughest positions to play in sports?
I think it's up there. I got to be honest with you. I think two that jump to mind for me is, I don't think I would ever want to be a center in football. and I don't think I'd ever want to be a goalie in hockey.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But those are for physical reasons. Now, in terms of difficulty and execution and all those things, look, being a pitcher's hard. I mean, it's the kind of thing where it takes a long time to master your craft, being your mechanics, your ability to throw the ball where you want to, your ability to change speeds and be consistent and do all those things. And a lot of guys never get it. And then you have that, like you say, that one-on-one battle with a hitter that, oh, by the way, you're having multiple times during the course of a game, and then you're having to change your game plan numerous times during the course of a game. So it's certainly a difficult position to play. And let's face it, I think we've seen a lot of athletes throw out the first pitch, and there's been some ugly ones. So, pitching's not so easy.
Do you think you had to hit? And I don't know how many times, because Tom, you and Maddox and all you guys had great efficiency. But if a pitcher doesn't have to hit, and for example, Joe Kelly last night hits Bregman pretty hard with a 90-plus mile-an-hour fastball, he doesn't have to go to the plate because of what the league now both have the DH. Is that something that the clubhouse has discussed, or is Kelly a hero because of the fact what he did, the Dodgers, and the fact they're upset with the Astros?
Well, he might be a hero until maybe today if one of his studs in the middle of his lineup.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
You know, so that's the difference, right? And I think in the National League, there was always that factor to where, you know, guys maybe were a little less apt to hit guys frequently because, let's face it, when you have to get in the batter's box, you don't want to wear it. So when there's a designated hitter and you don't have to wear it, you might be a little bit more apt to do that until the day comes where, you know, whoever it is in the middle of that Dodgers lineup that starts to suffer the wrath of being the guy that going to get flunked all the time. Sooner or later, one of those guys is going to go to the pitchers and say, hey, listen, I'm tired of it. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you better knock it off. And I've seen that happen on some teams over the years where, you know, the retaliation seemed to always go to one guy, and that one guy finally gets fed up and says, listen, knock it off. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out going forward because, like I said, if it's, you know, Mookie Betts is getting hit every time somebody on the Astros is getting hit or something like that, then I can assure you there's going to be some conversation.
Tom, thank you so much. Man, it's great to have you on the show. Be good. Good luck with the broadcast, and thank you for who you are.
All right, guys. Take care.
Tom Glavine, 305 wins, Hall of Famer, 2,607 strikeouts, 10 All-Star games, Cy Young Award, 4 Silver Slugger Awards. He could hit. That's one thing he could do. He could hit. 12th all-time with 305 wins, 4th among lefties.
Yeah, he could. And the last time we talked to him early on in this show's tenure, I think the first couple of weeks, that was another great conversation that we had with him. We got to talk about the old WTBS days and things like that. But, yeah, love his insight and love that he's now joined us on more than one occasion. So that's been awesome. By the way, Rangers and D-backs in action. We've had this on TV, and I'm definitely not taking it for granted.
Yeah.
But it's 0-0, and top of the third, Rangers facing men on first and third right now, so trying to get out of the jam.
I'm just telling you,
they can't hit.
Lance Lynn.
They can't field, they can't hit. That's not good.
Lance Lynn might be my favorite player in Major League Baseball.
He kind of reminds me of a current Colby Lewis.
Yeah, but I mean also the fact that he's got this beard and like he's not in shape.
Rangers can't hit, they can't field. They botched up a game when I saw it on Saturday or Sunday. When we come back, the news from Maceo Teague today for Baylor. If you didn't hear, we have a podcast already up with our interview with Scott Drew, the Baylor men's basketball coach. Coming up next, Jason King can break this down. What does it maybe mean with Jared Butler? And then Maceo Teague himself at 4, SicEm365 Radio. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler, Jeep Ram, and Fiat, an academic all-star sponsor. Thanks to Ted Teague and his great staff for supporting the elite student-athletes around Central Texas. And, yes, that program continues. And so does some of the great prices they have available for you when it comes to trucks or SUVs or even sedans. 2020 Ram Lone Star Crew Cabs have 0% financing for 72 months and no payments for 90 days. Or you can choose up to $10,250 in total values. And the 2020 Jeep Gladiators, those that remain, I looked at one of those. Employee pricing plus additional $1,500 in bonus cash. And many of the Jeep models also have 0% financing for 72 months, no payments for 90 days. Safe, shop in person, sanitized environment. The staff 100% on board with giving you a safe experience. And if you want to just go online and do your shopping and contact Alan Samuels, you can at alansamuelsdcj.com. They'll pick up and deliver whatever you're interested in and also help you with a test drive. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, Fiat, Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom-ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi. Great price chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco. House-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, hot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
Pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The SicEm365 Radio app is sponsored by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
We'll have some news a little bit later on and share with the ACC has released a 10-game conference schedule that Notre Dame will be included in. They can win the ACC title. They'll each play one non-conference game. We'll have that for you momentarily. Jason King, what a perfect day to have him. Most any day's good. Maceo Teague, who will join us in about 8 to 10 minutes, is coming back. Jason, your thoughts on the decision, and why do you think it came back to where he is coming back?
Well, a couple of things. I do think he probably realized that his chances of getting drafted were slim, and that but even more so, I really do think that these guys are seeing the bigger picture right now and realizing the opportunities that are right there in front of them at Baylor to really leave a legacy and do special things. They're probably seeing all the momentum this program has and the preseason #1 rankings that so many of the national guys are tabbing them with. And and the uncertainty surrounding the NBA and COVID and everything, and maybe even the G League not going off for a while. So I just think all signs pointed to him coming back. I'm not surprised at all. I was a little surprised that it took this long, but I'm glad he's going to be back. He's a high-level player and a huge piece of that team. And boy, they've got a lot of momentum right now, no question.
What do you think this means for Jared Butler, if anything?
I expect him to be back. I'm going to be absolutely floored if he doesn't come back to Baylor for his junior year. I mean, I think the decision's probably been made, and he's just kind of waiting it out till the timing's right to announce it. But, just like T, I mean, when he looks at this program, especially with Maceo back now, I mean, I know they have that great chemistry in the backcourt along with Mitchell. I got to think he's excited about the season, and I know he's been back on campus a lot already, and I've just got a good feeling he's going to be there. So I'm, that's kind of what I'm expecting. It may be Saturday or Sunday before we hear, maybe even Monday, but I would definitely plan on it.
Jason, as you mentioned, it's been a really good time for the program here as of late. The Maceo Teague news today, obviously the success of last season, and of course the recruiting has been off the charts. What is kind of the discussion right now about Baylor in the college basketball circles and the people that you talk to?
Well, I think Baylor has it's a sustained, era of success now for Baylor. Certainly they took it to a new level this past season, but I think Baylor's kind of an it school right now, or the in school right now, to go to. I think they made such a good showing so many times last year on a national stage, whether it's, winning at Allen Fieldhouse or winning 23 straight games or playing well on college game day, even though they lost to Kansas. I mean, I think that the chemistry that team showed and the success, I mean, I think everyone kind of, has Baylor on their radar right now. And, in basketball, all it takes is to pull one or two of those high-level guys, and it's going to keep your program going for a long time. So the other thing I really like about it, and I know we've talked about it on this show for years, is I think Scott Drew is finally getting the national level of respect he deserves. I think people really, respect him, and not just as a person, but as his actual coaching. And it's a fun brand of basketball. They're playing a smaller lineup now. It's exciting to watch, and people want to be a part of that style and a part of that family. That guys look happy when they're playing for Baylor. They sound happy in their interviews. They make it sound like a fun place to be, and it is. And that all goes back to Scott Drew. And I think it's paying off in recruiting, and it's paying off when you see guys wanting to come back when they could leave for the draft.
Could this, if Butler pulls the trigger, and I know Maceo is about to join us, but with Butler, that decision imminent, with what Maceo did, with who they had back, even if those two guys had left, can you explain how loaded they still have to go play, and hopefully will play, how loaded this team is right now?
Well, that backcourt, with assuming Butler will be back and you add Mitchell and Teague, and not only that, but Adam Flagler, who people are so excited about, it's going to be even better than last year in the backcourt. And, you mix, and people forget about guys like Matthew. Obviously, Mark Vidal is, an absolute stud. Everyone knows about him. But then you throw in the guys like Matthew Meyer, who's going to make a huge leap. Hopefully, Tristan Clark's back to form. Some of the new guys they got coming in, they're excited about it. Again, I just think the biggest question mark is replacing Freddie Gillespie in the paint. They got to find a big man to step up and be an impact player like Gillespie was. To me, that is the only concern with this team, because the chemistry there is there, the guards are there, the depth is there. They just need that one post presence to kind of step up. But man, they're as loaded with as any team in the country. And I don't see how anyone couldn't put them at number one in the preseason.
Jason, thank you. Couldn't get to the pop quiz because we have Maceo coming up, but thanks for your time.
That's good.
We loved it. We put it in the premium section. Thank you. That's Jason King with us on SicEm365 Radio. Nobody, I think, is more embedded and covers Baylor men's basketball than he does.
No, not at all. We've got, I think, the top of the line for every sport. I mean, even, Grayson covering men's tennis, and, Ashley obviously with basketball as well, along with Jason and all the football stuff. We got all the bases covered, and it's been a jam-packed first hour. By the way, Rangers just got out of a bases-loaded jam, so 0-0 between them and the Diamondbacks right now early on in this game. But I know we got a big second hour to go.
Yeah, we do, and it's going to start with the story of the day, Maceo Teague. He's coming back for another year for Scott Drew and Baylor. He's next on SicEm365 Radio.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
In great times or tough times, you always feel better working with someone who's there for you. When it comes to great banking, people here count on the First National Bank of Central Texas, here to help you, your family, and your business. Personal banking via phone, desktop, tablet, and drive-through, and business banking tailored for all situations, including yours. Amazing tomorrows from the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is SicEm365 Radio.
17, shot clock winding down, go to work on Ramey. Teague inside left, and it goes. Gorgeous move, Maceo Teague. Strong to the rim.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozers Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
We started today with Baylor men's basketball coach Scott Drew. We just had Jason King, who covers Baylor men's basketball as well as you can. The McLennan County decision about shutting down workouts, of course, was overturned last night. We've heard from Ray Briles. We'll hear from Mark Bell at China Spring next. And also news in college football, the ACC and what they've done. The SEC apparently is looking at the same thing, and the Big 12 ADs and presidents will look at a schedule of 3 to 5 different options on Monday. But right now, the story and the man of the day, Maceo Teague from Baylor, who made the decision to return for his senior year that made Scott Drew and his staff and everybody else around Baylor Nation thrilled, joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Maceo, is it almost a relief that you've made the decision?
What was that? I didn't hear the question.
I'm sorry. Is it almost a relief that this decision is almost like making a commitment to play somewhere? Yeah.
Yes, sir. It definitely felt like it was like a college commitment. Like when I committed to Baylor back in 2018, that's exactly what it felt like.
Yeah, I watched the video. That was very well produced, by the way. That was really cool stuff. Why'd you decide to do that? Coach Drew told us that you like surprises.
Yes, sir. I definitely like surprises. I just felt like it was a good idea leading up to the situation, or leading up to me making my decision. It was kind of up in the air up until about Friday of last week. Yeah, I pretty much talked to Coach Drew, and he said he thought it'd be best for me to put it out today. And that's exactly what we did. We executed the plan perfectly.
What did you feel on Friday that you may have come to peace with what you wanted to do?
I just asked sometimes for God to give me a sign, and I don't know. My friend said something to me. I spoke to a couple guys. I spoke to Royce O'Neal, and he's a real big mentor of mine, and he gave me some pretty good advice throughout my process. And I spoke to him a couple times, even though he's been in a bubble, and he's been a really good friend to me. So just talked to him a lot, just getting his feedback, a couple of agents, or my agent, and my couple of coaches' feedback, and just felt like it was the best decision for me to go back to school for one last year.
Isn't that what Royce did? Kind of represent what Baylor is as a men's basketball program, as a family?
Right. Royce, he did go back for us last year, but I don't think that's the reason he recommended I go back for my last year, though.
How'd you get to know Royce, Maceo?
He's around. My first year I came here when I sat out, him along with probably 12, 14 other guys came back and we played against them, the veterans. And he was one of the ones who reached out to me, spoke to me. I played pretty well in my time, so I guess he took notice of who I was. And he gave my number to Coach Nunes, and Coach Nunes gave it to me, and he told me to hit him up, and I hit him up. But we actually ended up hanging out. I went down to Houston that summer, and we ended up hanging out. We spoke, and he was just a really cool guy to be around, and he's just a real genuine, down-to-earth person. So I tip my hat to a guy like Royce.
How would you describe how Coach Drew and all the others just kind of let you do your thing and kind of go through the process? It's not as if they didn't they wanted you back, and they want Jared back as well. But how would you describe how they let you have some space, which sometimes can be hard to do, and yet wanted to make sure this was in the end the decision you wanted to make?
I feel like it was best. Like they gave me a lot of space. They gave me a lot of space. They also gave me pointers from the guys who had also gone through the process before me. It was my first time ever declaring for the draft, and they gave me a lot of pointers and things like that. But they also, I feel like they let me make the decision on my own. I feel like that was the best decision, or best thing that they could do is allow me to experience things and just make the decision myself. And they said that either way I went, they supported me either way, and they will always be in my corner.
Obviously, this year was weird. You didn't get to go through any of the normal draft process stuff. Everything was Zoom, or maybe somebody watching you work out on film or something like that. But how much does this prepare you for next year when you do, stay in this process?
That prepares me a lot. Did a lot of interviews. It just prepared me for a lot of the questions that they'll ask while I'm interviewing with them. Just allowed me to, and more importantly, it allowed me to know what they were looking for going into next season. What areas I needed to improve, what areas they liked in my game, and how I could just be better as a person and as a player next year.
Maceo, we hear all the time about how close this program is, and obviously the coaches were very excited. I mean, Scott Drew's always excited, but, he was definitely more amped up when we talked to him about an hour ago. What was the reaction of your teammates like upon learning the news?
They're pretty excited I'm coming back. They congratulated me. Jared called me and told me he enjoyed the video, and but everyone else did just congratulate me now that I made the decision, pretty much.
Do you now become the lead coordinator for recruiting when it comes to Jared Butler?
The lead coordinator? I think I'll take the approach that Coach Drew and those guys gave me. They didn't try to push me back or anything. In this type of situation, I feel like it's best to just let somebody make the decision for them. I feel like you shouldn't want to heavily influence their decision, and because I feel like you got to be a man to make the decision for yourself at the end of the day.
One of the things that I learned from you when we had you on back, I think it might have been in April, was how how mature you are for your age. That doesn't mean you can't be when you're 15 or 20, whatever, but you really kind of get it in life in a lot of different ways, your values, etc. Is that what made this process not easy, but allowed you to do it, figure it out, make the decision because how it seemed like you get it?
Yes, sir. But it wasn't on me. I would say, like, God, he puts people in your life, and he allows you to bounce ideas off of those people that he places in front of you. And I just feel like I was blessed with a lot of, well, not a lot of people, but since I've been in Baylor, a few people who reached out to me recently and just kind of guided me in a way that would help me be successful in life.
Maceo, thank you. Anything else, Craig? Paul, thanks for being a part of the show. Congratulations. I know Baylor Nation's thrilled. Scott Drew, we had him on earlier. And thanks for your time, and enjoy whatever you're doing now. And I know you're in Cincinnati. Relax on the way back whenever you get back.
Yes, sir, I will. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, you too. That's Maceo T. That guy's older than he is.
Well, Scott Drew is right. He's an old soul.
Yeah, he is.
He's 21, but he's 35.
Yeah, no, it's huge news for Baylor basketball. No doubt about it. He's a great interview, and they have tons of great interviews on that team, right? So not really surprising. But, yeah, he's exactly what Scott Drew just said about him about 45 minutes ago.
You and I thought about Scott Drew today. So we mentioned, we talked to him about the good news. Scott Drew doesn't need good news to wake up and be happy and approach the day. But can you imagine the level of optimism that's just beaming out of his house? Like if you drove your car by, you'd all of a sudden be like,
he doesn't even need electricity. Yeah. So a couple of things, and we got a little bit of time here. At 4:30, Mark Bell, China Spring AD, on the McLennan County change from last night, and then this is the process. The ACC has released this schedule, conference games only, but one non-conference game. Now, Derek Robolai of, Kyle Whitfield, he's with the Advocate, report SEC ADs approve a conference-only schedule. Next up are the school presidents. The SEC is reportedly taking a major step to playing conference-only this season, according to Sports Illustrated. Majority of SEC athletic directors voted Wednesday during a virtual meeting to approve the idea. That would absolutely affect Baylor Ole Miss.
Yes, it would.
And Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby has said on Monday at Big 12 Media Days virtual that there will be a vote and possibly among the presidents with 3 or 4 different options about what schedule that they would use.
Well, they're the only ones now that haven't made a decision because the ACC, as you mentioned, is going to do what they're going to do, and that's 11 games. And, what's going to be really interesting is and now we know as well that the SEC, I guess the Big 12 isn't the only one not to yet make a decision because the SEC isn't official, although it looks like it's headed that way. So the Big 12 is really the only one that we don't have any sort of idea about right now. But, it's going to be interesting because if you're the ACC and you're playing 11 games, is the SEC also playing 11 games? And that's what I'm saying. It's going to be kind of weird.
Well, that affects the ACC's decision was you play one non-conference game,
right,
but it has to be played in the ACC home state. So I thought that was just because they'd probably talked to the SEC and said, listen, we'll do Louisville, Kentucky, Florida State, Clemson, South Carolina, Georgia Tech. That's no problem. And then you work out some other things along the way. But if the SEC is not going to play non-conference games, then that means that who is the ACC going to go pick to play a non-conference game in their home state that's going to be willing to do that unless they're already there?
You know what I'm going to say out of this? There's a schedule that was published because for a long time we didn't know if there ever would be. Whether it's 9 games or 11 games or 12 games, there's a schedule that's published. This could affect Baylor's opening game with Ole Miss. It appears as if it will because if the ADs voted on this, you would think the others will go with it, stamp it, move on. And I don't know, is there even the possibility that Baylor plays the other non-conference games? I don't know. Or do they replace Ole Miss with somebody else looking for a game?
Well, that's what I'm saying is that if Big 12 goes conference only, they're only going to have 9 games.
Yeah,
so
and everyone else is going to have more.
And then the SEC is going to have, 9?
10. They're going to play 10.
Okay, they're 10.
Yeah. ACC will have
10.
11.
10, 11.
Or maybe 11 if they get this non-conference.
Yeah, no, that's what they want to do is the 10 conference and the +1. So you've got right there 3 conferences playing 11, 10, and then 9 games, potentially. So that's what I'm saying is, like, something's going to have to get figured out there. That's why I think the Big 12, because it's smaller, is going to probably have to do the +1. Like, I think everybody should probably minimum, if we're going to do all this, then 10 games should be, like, probably the bar, I would think. So the Big 12 needs to add a game, basically. And how they do that, maybe they do play Incarnate Word, or maybe they do play La Tech. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, at least this is positive momentum. I mean, we were waiting for press releases canceling the seasons outright, and here we are actually talking about playing the season. So I will take that positivity.
And we knew the Power 5 was going to do everything they could. I didn't think that they were going to cancel the season until, like, October.
Right.
Like, I think that the plan was always going to be, okay, we'll start here, because what the plan should have always been was, you know, plan A, plan B, plan C, D-Day, you know, and then I didn't think that would happen until they absolutely had to, because it, you know, we can work out, but we can't play games. You know, all they could have done those things. They could have pushed the ball down the field as much as they could before they made a decision. So I'm glad that we're seeing this now, and that we actually, you know, a plan, the plan A, we get, I guess it's not plan A, this would be plan B.
Yeah.
So
but plan B is better than plan D-Day, like you said. And, you know, I know that the person made that comment earlier when we were talking to was it Coach Biles that we had on earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah, when we were talking to Coach Biles about, like, football being more important and you know, whatever. And I know people have those kind of knee-jerk reactions. But, I mean, here's the deal. Based on what McLennan County said yesterday, they're just letting them practice and play. And if things go haywire, then they shut it down. And the medical authorities have the ability to do that. This is going to be the same thing in college football. They're going to try to get it going. And if they need to shut it down, at some point they'll shut it down. I don't see any harm in that, in just trying it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
That's always been my philosophy.
Yeah. And if it works, then hey, then great. That's
and
awesome.
If you have to miss 5 weeks in a row, you do.
Yeah, but I mean,
get some treads on the tire.
But it's better than just throwing a white towel in and saying, all right, we're not even going to try this.
Nicole Auerbach, Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby says presidents will look at 4 or 5 scheduling models when they meet Monday night. Now, here's what's weird. Max Olson put this out. Thought about pretty wild. The Big 12 will have teams start practicing this Friday. The media day will be Monday. And then after media day, then the presidents will look at scheduling models. Why would you not move that up to Sunday night?
I don't like. What are they missing? Like, it's not like there's a.
I mean, it's great that they have these models. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But why would you not have that and then be able to discuss it with the coaches on Monday? Otherwise, that's going to be the question you ask every one of them, and they can't answer it.
Okay, I see what you're saying now. Yeah, they're not going to have any sort of insight when we talk to them.
So, Coach, what do you think your schedule's going to be? I
don't know.
Yeah, but then 7 hours later, they'll know.
Yeah. The Big 12, I really, you know, they've kind of come out of a dark time where they just constantly had stupid slogans, or slogans that were always, there was a loophole in how, you know, one true champion. But, you know, they've really kind of stabilized. And Bowlesby has to be given some credit, even though Baylor fans hate him. But he does, along with the presidents, including all the ADs. But this doesn't make any sense. That's when they normally would meet the night before. It's not hard. Everyone's in their office. I don't think they're going to meet at a hotel, right?
Yeah.
Do it the night before and then announce it with Bob Bowlesby at Monday's media day.
Well, I haven't checked out the media day schedule. Is Baylor still doing Tuesday?
No, it's all Monday.
It's all Monday.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Monday.
then that definitely doesn't make any
Dave
sense.
Miranda's in the 10 o'clock hour.
Okay, well, then I was thinking if they at least did it over 2 days, then on day 2 you could have some reactions to whatever the Big 12 officials decide, but we won't even have that. So
all Monday, just coaches, no players.
Okay, well, yeah, I hadn't read that email in full yet. I'd seen where they had announced it, but yeah, that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I will bring this up. Somebody brought up a great point. So if you're BYU and you're looking at your schedule right now,
oh my God.
First game of the year, Utah, canceled. Second game of the year, Michigan State, canceled. Third game of the year, Arizona State, canceled. Fourth game of the year, Minnesota, canceled. So they had a non-con of Utah, Michigan, every game's a non-con for them, but Utah, Michigan State, Arizona State, and Minnesota, and 3 of those were road games. All of those are canceled. And then their final game of the year against Stanford was also canceled, but they also still have Missouri on the docket that has not been canceled, so Missouri's probably going to cancel. So they're left with like 5 games at this point.
Well, that might open up teams that are going to look for that one non-conference game they need to add.
If you need a game in the first month of the season, anybody out there listening, BYU's available because their entire first month has been canceled.
They have become Mart of college football.
Well, well, they've also, like, BYU's probably doing what their Catholic counterparts have done and said, now, granted, Notre Dame they're already in the ACC and everything but football. So all they had to do was call them and go, hey, guys, you cool with this?
Yeah.
And then navigate all that.
But that's interesting, man, that they're going to really they've got 6 games currently scheduled, or no, 7, but it's going to be 6 because Missouri's going to drop, and then we'll see with the rest of them.
If the ACC is going to do 11, 11 games.
That's what they're planning.
The SEC most likely will probably, as you mentioned, do 10 or 11. The Big 12 must, if they have a model, they must cover their ass. Otherwise, they're going to be left with this metric thing again.
Oh, they only played 9 games.
No, they'll use it against. They will.
Oh, yeah.
Why not cover that up? Even if there's a game or 2 canceled, then you can't help it.
I think you have to add the +1 game if you're the Big 12. I think you got to at least try to get to 10 games.
Joe Kelly been suspended 8 games.
Yeah, I was going to pass that along, but
and Dave Roberts a game.
I think that you have to go ahead and add a +1 somehow or another. How you work that out, I don't know. But yeah, Baylor Ole Miss is definitely looking like it's iffy at best, and it's been that way for like a month now.
How about this? I was on a podcast with 10-12. It's a podcast covers the Big 12, TEN, and then 12. He asked me a question. If every team in the Big 12 had to play an extra conference game against somebody twice, obviously, if you're smart, you don't want to play Oklahoma twice, although Baylor did last year. And, then again, you want to beat would that not be TCU?
If you're picking somebody not like the easiest win, obviously, because that would be Kansas, then yeah, I would think TCU.
Yeah, because everyone's going to say we want Kansas, and Texas will get Kansas.
Yeah.
But I mean no, and Kansas and Kansas State have to play. Well, I don't know if you want to play a rivalry twice. Texas and OU surely aren't going to play twice. Although you could play 3 times.
Yeah, they did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I do want to pass along what you were saying on Joe Kelly. 8 games by MLB for his actions in the bottom of the 6th against the Astros last night. When he threw around the head of Alex Bregman and then talked some trash to Carlos Correa. He had previously been suspended for intentionally throwing at hitters, so I guess that had something to do with the 8 games. Dave Roberts, Dodgers manager, 1 game. Dusty Baker has been fined. Kelly will appeal the suspension, but you get 8 games in a shortened season, that's more like 25 games.
By the way, I mean, Joe Kelly is just doing this out of the principle of the thing, because when the Astros did this, he was on the Red Sox, and then he beat them the next year and actually pitched really well in that series. So he's just doing it on principle, but Joe Kelly's a wild man anyway. By the way, here's the thought I had on the ACC. Notre Dame's in for 1 year only. What if they win it?
Yeah.
What if they're in a conference for 1 year of their whole existence and they win it? Now, I don't think that's going to happen because Clemson's in that conference, but...
No, I don't think it's going to happen either, but yeah, that would be really, really crazy. By the way, home run Todd Frazier. Rangers now lead 1-0 as the crowd goes mild. All the cutouts. But yeah, this SEC schedule is very interesting. ACC coming out now. They were clearly ready to put some of this info out. And now we'll just wait on the Big 12 and see exactly what they want to do. But Dellinger, I guess you just retweeted this, did say that any final decision by the SEC may not come until next week. So even though we're in midweek and it looks like they kind of know what they're going to do already, Ross Dellinger did say that they may delay the decision until next week. So that would leave Baylor Ole Miss kind of flipping in the wind, which is the story of that entire game from day one.
Man, think about all that's going on. Joe Kelly, who doesn't give it? Is it TJ or whoever just sent that? He doesn't care. He does not give a flying you know what.
Yeah.
And so you know what? And Tom Glavine was good answer. I said, well, you get away with that. No, not until you want to hit that Betts character.
Yeah.
Paul's going to radio down.
I love of all the players that he could mention, he mentioned Mookie Betts just to mess with Paul.
So in the last hour, Scott Drew, Jason King, Maceo Teague on the Maceo Teague decision.
Which would have been big enough news just for the day, period.
That would have been it. If that would have been just our lineup alone, we would be fine, but we still have Mark Bell from China Spring on the AD perspective of the McLennan County change in the shutdown. I still think it was fun. And it was happiness watching a 20 head coach, football coach thread going back and forth on needing games, and some going silent and some saying, like, for example, LaVega and Conley right now are scheduled to play twice because that's the only other. Conley can't find a week 1. Sunnyvale's interested, but they've been told to kind of hang around Dallas. Sunnyvale would also help LaVega week 5, but they've been told to kind of hang around Dallas, so they have to play twice.
I would just, if you're going to, Dallas, to me, it's not like, Jeff Hume had to reschedule that game with Midway because they're going, all the way across the state into Odessa, and that's a long time on a bus. That's a way, that increases your exposure time. But if you're around Dallas, where is Sunnyvale? What part of Dallas?
It's on the northeastern side. I think it's up like north of 20 or up between, north of 30, I think it is.
So what if
I don't know, in between.
So what if
20
they had to go to
and
Grandview? Okay, that's still about the same amount of time. Alvarado, something like that.
Yeah.
To me, I just think that
it's just northeast of Mesquite. It's just north of Highway 80 and Highway 20. Highway 80, and also just south of 20.
Well,
between 20 and 30. I'm sorry, Greg.
Selfishly, I am looking forward to 2 rounds of Connolly and La Vega. I know that they as coaches and players might not be so much looking forward to that, but I'm definitely ready for 2 rounds of that, and God willing, we'll be able to get that. But I'm just thankful that there was some thought put into the kind of abrupt decision that was made last week, and there was communication lines that were opened, and I think this show had a hand in keeping that communication open. And obviously, the coaches were thrilled by that news, so that's great. And again, I think that these young men and the young women as well will be much better off, kind of having that supervision that they wouldn't have otherwise. And we just had another story that popped that's not really a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but Rutgers had to shut down all of their football activities over the last few days because they had like double-digit guys popping. Why did they pop? Well, turns out that Rutgers had a string of coronaviruses because it looks like a bunch of these guys went to a party. So that's one of those things that, like, when we're talking to Mac Rhodes, the players have to be responsible. And so I think that for the young men and women, they're going to be far more responsible if they're under the tutelage, guidance, and supervision of their coaches who have their best interest in mind versus being on their own and just, doing their own thing.
Yeah, it's stupid. And then again,
I don't see that's a negative.
So what's worse, at least if they're in a program, there's still going to be guys that are knuckleheads. Like high school kids, if they're not able to be in front of Ray Biles or Mark Bell or Brian Bell or Don Hyde or Shane Anderson or Kevin Hoffman, they're out playing around playing grab ass, right? And they're not. There's no protocol there. Allow the college or the coaches or even others to at least have a chance to be arrested. Like no pass, no play. Used to be gone, evaporated for 6 weeks. And the question was, okay, is that really what we want? Yes, there are consequences for not doing your job in school. But do you want them out on the street where they have no chance of passing? Because most of those kids are going to quit. And you say, okay, well, they need to make better decisions. I agree. When we come back, it's 4:25.
Yeah, I was going to say, too, I don't get daily temperature checks, but these guys will. I don't have somebody constantly monitoring, all of my body, but these guys will. So how is it a negative?
One night I went to bed. It might have been Monday night. I'd been in Florida for a couple of hours. I remember going to bed. I was like, God, it seems like I have this cough. It's a little bit different. And I took some allergy stuff, and I'm done. But I did. It feels when I felt something tickling my throat, it made me a little bit
paranoid.
I wasn't really nervous because I'm not afraid to get it.
Right, you're just like, maybe I have
But
it.
it's and that's happened probably twice in 3.5 months. So you're gonna cough over 3.5 months, right? You're gonna have sniffles or something. Just be smart. It's 4:26. Mark Bell, China Spring AD is next. PettyClinicLOT.com. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the man that you want to be. How? Contact him. You have to do that. If you've been kind of your energy, you've been lethargic, your sex drive's down, or you just don't feel right. And I say this all the time because it could be more than your testosterone. It could be a diet, your sleep habits. It could be exercise. It could be all of that. But it also absolutely could be your testosterone level. So how do you find out? Contact PettyClinicLOT.com, Dr. Petty. They'll schedule you an appointment to get your blood work. He will then check your blood work. He will then look at your testosterone level, and it's down. If it's down even a little bit or a lot, he'll put you in a program that will get you back to being the high-performance man you want to be. Period. That's it. It's that simple. And he might even get the blood work back, and it's not your testosterone, but maybe there's something else that he could find because they also do PSA screening. They also do cholesterol screening. And maybe it's none of that, and then at least you know, right? PettyClinicLOT.com. Become the high-performance man you want to be at PettyClinicLOT.com.
Summertime means vacation time, and when you hit the road, do it in the vehicle of summer. Jeep. At Allen Samuels, it's our huge summer clearance event. It's on. Get employee pricing on brand new 2020 Jeep Gladiator Sport Editions, plus an additional $1,500 in retail bonus cash. And ask about 0% and no payments for 90 days on other Jeep models. It's time to say goodbye. Adios, 2020s from Allen Samuels.
Ask for details. All offers with approved credit.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Wakefield and Bryan and at pioneerboys.com.
Do you love Friday Night Lights? Would you like to have a bigger role than just watching the action to ensure the games are played fairly and safely? The Waco football chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO, can make that happen. The 2020 Texas high school football season is right around the corner, and we need you to be a part of it. There's a shortage of officials across the state in all sports, and you can help. If you love the game and want to be a part of the solution, you can help our local student athletes continue to participate in games they love. Never officiated before? Don't worry. Waco Football Chapter can help and prepare you to make the right call. And right now, Introduction to Football Officiating class is accepting registrations. Make your first grade call today by looking us up and contacting us on Facebook at Waco Football Chapter or at our website, wacofootballchapter.com. Find out more about the Waco Football Chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO. Go to wacofootballchapter.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
I just received a text from Mac Rhodes on this SEC report about a possible conference-only schedule. And again, the president's going to possibly vote next week on that and may move it back a week. Mac Rhodes telling me, I have not heard from Ole Miss. I have not heard from them, but I do have a call with Ole Miss and ESPN tomorrow. Who knows what that might be, but that's the latest on that Baylor and Ole Miss game based on the SEC possibly going conference only. We're now joined by the AD at China Spring High School, Mark Bell, and all of the ups and downs and various levels and angles we've tried to bring you with the McLennan County shutdown and the overturning of the decision to allow players and athletes and schools and programs to get back to work. Mark, what was it like when you saw that the shutdown had been changed?
Well, we were just jubilant. We were just crazy happy because, it's been a state of depression over the last week and a half in Central Texas amongst the athletes, the coaches, the superintendents, the teachers, and everybody, because, we're just wanting to get kids back in school and go back to work and just, enjoy what we do.
What's the last couple of days been like for you trying to reassess schedule-wise and fit things in?
Well, it's actually turned out a little better than what we thought it was going to turn out. We had lost 5 games And basically, when the McLennan County pulled their deal or whatever you want to call it, man, it just stumped us. And so all of a sudden, everybody heard about it, and everybody started calling us, and they were just dropping us. Everybody just say, "Hey, coach, we're moving on. We're going to move on. You're not going to be able to play." So basically, at one point in time, we had zero. We were going to lose 5 football games, and just kind of just through the luck of the draw, the way things worked out, we were able to come back in the last day and a half and establish and get 4 of those games back. We lost 1, but we were able to go back and reclaim 4 of those 5 games.
Coach, you've seen a lot in your years in the business, but I would have to imagine you've seen nothing like COVID-19 and all the effects that it's had. What has this been like from your perspective?
Well, it's something that is definitely concerning. And everybody, administrators, everybody is. We've always wanted to take care of kids first, and safety is always first. But it's been tough. Just seeing kids go through what they've gone through, not being able to do things, not be able to have the contact with the kids, the impact on their lives that we'd like to have. It's a little less controlling and things like that. We need kids, and kids need us as far as in education. And we're certainly not in coaching for just the money and all those kind of things, because there's not a lot of it there. But it's about the relationships with kids and being able to help young people and enjoy that. That's what it's really all about.
I knew this, and of course you knew this, that the camaraderie among high school coaches, even if you want to beat each other, compete with each other, and sometimes have rivalries that can be a little bit edgy. I was, Mark, amazed. The meeting, maybe not amazed, that's probably not the wrong term, but I learned something, and I thought I knew this, but when you guys showed up at Midway and spoke with my God, I just went blank, Ben Perry.
Ben Perry.
And then, but you showed up there, and then, of course, you guys stayed in touch, and then I had this thread going back and forth. It was amazing to me how everyone was on board, and people can say, they want to play football, but that means they don't get what coaching really is as far as the, being a part of the leadership of these young men as well. Were you even possibly surprised at how the camaraderie was so united?
Well, I've always felt Central Texas football was fantastic football, and we've got a lot of great connections with each other, but we had a fantastic situation where we got the opportunity to visit with the other coaches and stuff like that. But, as I said earlier, practically every day, I talked to Ray Biles, I talked to Donnie Hyde, I talked to Willie Williams, I talked to Shane Anderson. I mean, every day we were all working together because, it's something that was just devastating to the kids. It was something devastating to our superintendent, to our student body. And it was just unbelievable to get that opportunity back.
Coach, if they hadn't have gone ahead and done this or pushed it back to Monday or past Monday when everybody else started working out, were you ready to kind of move on with we're going to play 5 or 6 games?
Well, yeah, I was ready, but to be honest with you, I was about as depressed as I've been in a long time. I wasn't worth much, to be honest with you. I was telling our athletic secretary that I'm not worth a nickel right now because, just super depressed, and just. We were working, getting ready and everything, but, there's almost a point in time right there towards the very end before the Attorney General put his deal that, I thought we were done. I mean, I wasn't giving up, but I thought, we just, nobody was listening. We didn't think anybody was listening. I hate to say that, but it was tough, because, the last 2 nights I've been going to T-ball games in Temple, Texas, watching 5- and 6-year-olds play T-ball, and man, you talk about exciting to be able to watch athletics again. I mean, I'm loving everything I see out there. And I mean, I'm thinking this is T-ball, man. We're doing high school football, and that's part of it, But it's just a blessing to be able to have the opportunity to coach kids, but to really get it going again. And I think we all need that.
Mark, there's a lot of lessons that we're learning over this time period, not only just about the way we handle things, but maybe perhaps there are better ways to handle things. I think with the situation with the county last week, the one thing that everybody can agree on is that communication is key, and that with more communication, things can happen in a better way for everybody involved. What kind of lessons do you think we're learning from this time period that maybe changed the way things are done versus how they were done previously?
Well, I think you're exactly right. I think that was the total problem, that superintendents didn't have any input for what they really are professionals about, and they didn't have this decision was mandated to them, and and we had no problem with anybody doing whatever they needed to do, but but certainly each school district kind of needs to take care of their situation. You know, my dad always used to tell me, he said, I really don't care what's happening in the house next door. You know, if you're a Bell, you know, these are your guidelines, these are what you're going to go by, and these are your rules and all this kind of stuff. We don't care what anybody else does. And that's kind of how, you know, I felt like, you know, we needed to take care of our China Spring kids, and La Vega needs to take care of their kids, and Lorena, and they know what's best for their kids, and they know what their kids need. And we certainly think, you know, getting back to in the classroom is the most important thing for the China Spring community and kids right now.
And a lot of people realize this is we cover, because of our show, we cover high school football in depth, but we do cover other stories of the other sports. In fact, did your basketball teams run in the playoffs? This is for everybody, right, Mark? I'm sorry, that everybody can go back to what the UIL schedule is to go into whatever is the fall workouts on Monday, August 3rd.
Yes, sir. We start back Monday, the 3rd. Yes, sir. We'll start volleyball, you know, practices and football practices. And the only thing that's a little bit different from what I understand, you know, is they've taken like cross country and moved it back, and they moved it back to match up with the 5A and the 6A situation. And then also, to be honest with you, this whole thing's affected the band programs, because from what I understand, band, you know, we have a outstanding band program at China Spring High School, and they're not able to practice like they were in the past. They can't start until September the 8th as far as working on their shows and their halftimes and things like that. So, you know, for the first 2 football games, there's no way they can march or perform, because they haven't been able to even touch their shows and start developing their shows. So, you know, it affects everybody. I mean, it's just not athletes, it's young people, you know what I'm saying? So there's, you know, people just we don't start school on the first day of school. You know, school is year round for what we do at China Spring, you know, with the different programs, whether it be cheerleaders, you know, they're practicing something, they're going to camps, everybody's doing something, and just to shut it down, you know, that's pretty tragic and pretty brutal.
Mark, thank you very much. Good luck going forward with the protocol and being smart. I know you will, and I'd rather have the kids in front of you where you could watch them rather than if they're running around, you know, doing God knows what. But good luck, and they still have to be smart when they leave the field house or any part of the conference as far as the campus. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I do want to say this, David. I'm going to cut you off, but, you know, I want to thank you guys for what y'all did a bit getting involved in this too, and talking about it on your show and helping the Central Texas sports, because, you know, this was so tough. I think it took the work of everybody to kind of make this thing happen. I mean, to give us an opportunity, or at least a choice.
Thank you.
I want to thank you guys for doing that.
We appreciate it. It's a mayor. The mayor of Stephenville might be the hero in this if everything goes according to plan. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mark.
You see y'all. Have a good blessed day.
That's Mark Bell, AD at China Spring. By the way, there's some feedback. The 254 number. Just because the Attorney General says you can doesn't mean you should. All politicians versus health authorities. Who do you trust with your kids' health with more? I trust my kids' health with me if they were younger, and I do trust coaches. Yeah, they want to play, they want to work out, and I trust the leaders of school districts and the board or the superintendents. What was the stat that I had? It was like 2,200 students, and might have been 2 to 3 or 4 that had tested positive in McLennan County.
Yeah, I don't know about the rates and all that here lately, but, I mean, if you can't trust your teachers and your coaches and those people, then I don't know who we're supposed to be trusting. And I understand that the angle that this person is coming from. And, look, I'll just put it this way. Not everybody's going to like the decision. I think most people do like the decision. And most people are happy with it, but I do understand that there are going to be some people that don't like it. And there are some people who think that we should just batten down the hatches and not do anything and not go anywhere and not do just anything until this thing is, like, cured, which I don't know about you, but I can't afford to do that. I literally cannot afford to not do anything and just rely on, like, the government to give me a $600 check in a few months as this thing continues on. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do that. And, you know, the reality is that this thing's not going to go away anytime soon. So we're all sitting here with different opinions on how it should be done or whatever. If you don't agree with the decision, that's fine. But for those that do, hey, it's great news, and let's celebrate the great news.
I'm not telling a doctor if he's right or wrong. I'm just saying that what created this was communication.
Right. Yes, and there's differing opinions all over the place. I am for keeping it as tight as we can and, in the box as we can until there's a vaccine. But I'm also like you, Craig, to a point of, and you as well, we can't just shut everything down. And there are better ways to do it, especially in this. Each instance is not the same. It's not the same.
You know what we're going to look like as a society if we don't try? Like at the end of a movie when an atom bomb goes off.
Well, the other thing that you think of, okay, this in particular is not sending people back into an office building, like a gigantic skyscraper where there's a bunch of people. That's not what they're doing. There's safety protocols in place. And look, if there's an outbreak, there's an outbreak.
Yeah,
we have to. You can't ignore the outbreak. You have to just deal with it.
If there's a flood, you react to the flood, or you hope to be proactive with it as well. If there's a hurricane,
but if
there's things
that doesn't mean that if it's drizzling, you don't go outside.
And I'm not trying to. And I know that you get mad when I say this. It's like getting behind the wheel of a car, but there are dangers to that. And I'm not trying to compare that so much to a contagious disease.
Here's the bottom line: is just that if you don't agree with it, let's see how it goes. Because if it works. And there's going to be cases. Like, we could all sit in our homes for forever, and there's still going to be new cases every day because not everybody in the entire country is going to sit at home all day long. Like, it's not possible. So we can't do that. So we only got a couple of choices. And for everybody that's against this idea, let's see how it goes. What if this goes off without a hitch, and, there's a case that pops up here and there, but for the most part, everything is pretty much what it is right now, except for you do have kids back in school and you do have them out playing sports. What is the harm in that? There's absolutely no harm, and that would be great news, right? So maybe that's what happens. Maybe the alternative is the other side of the coin where, hey, cases erupt and a lot of people get sick and football has to shut down. And if that's what happens, that's what happens. But, there's only two ways it's going to go. It's either going to work or it's not. And we'll deal with it either way. But, just not even trying to do anything, it's just such a we're never going to get anywhere with anything if we don't even try.
Yeah, and then we react to it. And if all of a sudden there's a flare-up in Bosqueville or in Mart, whatever,
then
you deal with it.
Then shut
down.
Then, who cares? It's shut down. I mean, that's the thing.
We tell coaches how to coach, teachers how to teach, administrators how to administrate, politicians how to do their thing, but we can't question a health authority?
I'm not even focusing on that so much. I'm just saying that, there's no harm in trying. And the whole thing from McLennan County yesterday that people seem to be, I guess, not acknowledging or just glossing over is that if it gets bad, they will shut it down. So, what's the problem? It's not like they're going to say, oh, there's 10 cases in Bosqueville, let's just play through it. No, they'll shut it down. They'll take care of it. Those guys will get tested, and they'll take care of them. And at least it'll be identified versus the alternative.
Here's a great tweet, 678. Clearly, Rutgers, the Marlins are proving being in a system doesn't matter. What matters is the maturity of the people within the organization and their processes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Let's look, like we talked
Which
about with
goes down to high school and
with
whatever
Mac
else.
Rhodes yesterday.
Yeah.
Clearly, the Baylor's cases are down because they've got athletes that are buying into doing what they have to do. The minute that they don't, then that's, then it changes.
It's kind of like cases are down when people don't go travel a whole bunch and they do wash their hands and they do wear masks. Oh, wow, look at that. The numbers are suddenly down because people are taking their personal responsibilities, and that's what we all are supposed to be doing. Not everybody is, but that's what we're supposed to be doing. So
I agree. And you have handled it differently than Paul has handled it, and I've handled it differently. Here we are. And like I said, I just told you, if I felt like there was something going on, I wouldn't have gone anywhere, and I would have probably maybe taken some medicine, but I haven't had that yet. Raymond Parsh, the third, so this is funny, a program from Indiana who has scoffed at joining the conference, especially one in the Midwest, tries to desperately save its season by temporarily joining the conference where its members are from states along the Atlantic coast.
Yeah, could be looking at Notre Dame ACC champions in 2020.
Why wouldn't they join the Big Ten, Paul? There's too many teams.
Well,
they could. That's another game.
You know why? Because they can't go in the Big Ten and tell people what to do.
There you go.
They can go in the ACC.
Yeah.
And even the two most powerful schools in the ACC, still, if Notre Dame decided they were going to be full tilt in with football, Notre Dame would be like, hey, this is where the championship game is. What do you guys feel about Chicago?
Yeah.
I guess that's where we're going to do it.
Yeah. No, and I'm glad that the ACC's been able to do this because I want to see things played. And that doesn't mean we may still never get to a game. We don't know, but let's go day by day. 4:46 is the time. We'll come back with some of the stories we haven't been able to get to. Recap, Maceo Teague, Joe Kelly, McLennan County, Rangers baseball,
Rangers baseball, they're out there. They could have just shut down the season, but they're out there and they're playing. And if things go haywire, they'll sideline them like the Marlins. But if they don't, they'll get a baseball season in. What is the harm in trying?
254-339-1122. You want to light us up? We'll hear from you. What do you want to see happen with sports? And the text line brought to you by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, the Willis Law Firm on SicEm365.com. In the chat room, in the premium section, David Smoke and Paul Catalina. Craig Smoke at SicEm365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street here in Waco. Absolutely an unbelievable selection of craft beer. You cannot beat it. You go into the walk-in fridge, and you can see what you want, whether you're a porter guy, a stout guy, maybe you like a Hefeweizen. Maybe you just maybe you want maybe like an ale. I don't know. You've got tons of choices. It's fantastic. They've got Balcones in stock. Every time there's a new release, like there just was one, they're one of the first. And this time they were the first outside of the distillery to get it. So they've always got that stuff in stock as soon as they get it until it's gone. And they have a convenient drive-through window that is absolutely fantastic and awesome. I've used it several times. You just go up, you tell them what you want. Like my order last time was I had a bottle of Dripping Springs and I had a bottle of Balcones Rumble, and I gave them my credit card. They got the stuff, and boom, bam, done, out the door, on back here to enjoy my wonderful beverages. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, a hidden gem. Find out more on Instagram and Facebook at the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street here in Waco.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jeweler, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at TexasTrialLawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
What are you supposed to do when you pull up behind a truck that doesn't even have a hitch? I mean, it's like looking at plumber's crack. Do you cover your kids' eyes, look away, and switch radio stations? Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, asking for your help to end this embarrassing form of truck nudity. If you have a truck, at some point you need to pull something. It could be a trailer to haul stuff off to the dump, maybe a jet ski, a boat, an RV, a horse trailer, even just a bike rack. The point is, put a hitch on your truck's backside. And at Pickup Outfitters, we actually install more hitches than anything else. Whether it's a receiver hitch, a gooseneck, or a fifth wheel, we'll cover your aspirations to not drive a nude truck. And all hitches are covered by the Pickup Outfitters lifetime installation guarantee. So cover your rear end with a new hitch from Pickup Outfitters on Lake Air Drive in Waco, where we're fighting to end truck nudity in Central Texas. Check them out on our website at createacommotion.com/hitches.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, Bod Pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change, your change.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Log on to the Willis Law Firm chat room on SicEm365.com.
All right, got some great stuff. And, man, even though we may disagree on some of the topics, opinions, comments, 254, just because the Attorney General says you can doesn't mean you should. And he mentioned politicians and health authorities. So you're saying that because the way the health authority went about making the recommendations was wrong and therefore nullifies their assessment. Nobody, I think, has ever, there's been some that has questioned the doctor's decision, yes. But I don't think anyone's questioning his knowledge. What was said by Ken Paxton was that you cannot just wipe out a county with sweeping changes unless there is a reason for a serious, like a serious outbreak. Like Riesel's had no tests, none. I mean, no positive, none. And the other,
good job, Zach Burke.
Various things of, yeah. So it's not that Ken Paxton said the doctor was stupid or an idiot or didn't know what he was talking about. The guy's, he's an infectious diseases guy. He knows his stuff. The question was his ruling. There's government, there's law, city, county, state, country, right?
Yeah. I mean, and that's all he said. And look, they could still decide if there's like basically what it said was if there's an actual outbreak, then he can shut it down, which in the schools there has not been yet. And there might be as soon as they open schools up.
Yeah, and that's quite possible. I mean, we've been told by Mack Rhodes multiple times now, expect delays, expect interruptions, expect cancellations. That's going to go across the board for all sports. I mean, Major League Baseball is already dealing with the cancellation of an entire week's worth of Marlins games, and based on them popping another positive today, they might deal with 2 weeks of no Marlins games. But, yeah, no one's saying a health authority is wrong. The only disagreement in this entire thing, so that we just don't waste any more time kind of circling here, is that there was no communication. And that was where the issue lay from the very beginning. That was the problem that people had with that decision that was made. Now, if there's facts to back up why we should do that, and there's communication as to why we should do that, that's one thing. That's not what happened, though. And so that's where the issue was. It's not anybody saying, this guy don't know what he's talking about. There's no reason to be worried about it. No, nobody's saying any of that. Just saying that the communication was the issue, and now the communication's been cleared up a little bit, and it's been, it's been handled.
So we move on. Also, the 254-548. You've said multiple times how we have to get back to normal sooner or later. Yes, we do. But in my opinion, now is not the time. That's from the 254. That kind of thinking is exactly why we had a spike in cases in the summer, Texas opening early, and just wanting to get back to normal. Virus be damned. It's just frustrating to see people not learning from that. I listen every day, though. I love the show, and we love the content. And we love you for listening. And but I disagree. I love your opinion. Man, it's great. We want 1,000 of you to text or call or be a part of the Twitter social media.
We're not afraid of disagreeing with each other's opinions on this show. So, I mean, we're not going to get mad.
Yeah, and he makes a pretty good point. There was a flare. What was it, like 4th of, what was it, the Memorial Day? Yeah.
It was,
and there was. Yeah. And yet again.
And that was when a bunch of people protested that they couldn't go to the bars and, did that whole crybaby routine. And then there was a bunch of people protesting, racial injustice. And so we had a lot of people out on the streets.
About the same time, right?
It was all right in the same, wheelhouse. So, and that's what kind of bothered me, too, is when people bring up the protests. The protests weren't just the Black Lives Matter protest or, police reform protest. There was also the, hey, we want to be able to drink at the bar protest. That were very minute in comparison.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't just one thing. It was a combination of things. And look, I am not one that's like, hey, let's rush to open everything back up and do all of that. I'm certainly not in favor of that, but I'm also not in favor of us just not doing anything until, this thing is completely kaput because that's not going to happen anytime soon. We're already halfway through the year of 2020. We've been dealing with this nearly the entire time. I mean, 5 out of the 6 months, basically, we've been dealing with this because I was following it when it was just in China originally. So, I mean, at some point, Esther, get off the pot, kind of, in a way. Like, we can sit on our hands or try to do something.
Let's try to encourage people that can't be open to the normal way that they could. Like, let's find alternative ways for them to make income and be, half open.
Right.
Like, that's what we should be doing with this time, as opposed to everything's completely shut down and don't leave your house or nothing. Let's find alternatives that are safe. Like, that's not just, throw caution to the wind and all go to a bar where not wearing masks.
Let's not go pack a movie theater,
Yeah.
but maybe we can open up movie theaters and everybody sits 5 seats apart.
Yeah.
That's an option that's different from the normal, but maybe that's the new normal. And we'll never know if we never try those things.
Absolutely. Here's can we at least agree that politicians need to stay in their lanes when it comes to our kids' health?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They need to stay in their lanes on everything.
And I don't know if Ken Paxton, was that a political move?
Probably.
I mean, I think that it was a multifaceted move. It was something he had to do. He had to answer a question.
He was asked by the mayor of Stephenville to clarify all of this.
Yeah. Now
Ken Paxton didn't just pick yesterday to make this decision. He was asked for a decision or asked for a clarification. He gave it. Now, did he make it because of political whatever? Does he get extra votes? Does he get reelected or whatever? I don't know.
I'm sure there's some political tie-ins to him making the decision that he did, but he also had to make a decision.
The second part of what he said was, has huge political ramifications in that, schools don't get funding if they don't open and, all these different things. I mean, that's very political. That's extremely political and could be the much more dangerous part of this because.
But do you think him overruling the McLennan County Health District?
No.
I think that was him.
Now, answering a part. I think the second part is much more dangerous because it could create, especially a desperate school district that may not have anything in its coffers to go, well, we just can't do it.
Yeah.
TJ, Joe Kelly doesn't give a damn.
No.
Did I already say that?
He does
By the
not.
way, hey, I don't know how this worked out, and I feel bad because Carl didn't call. He sent a text. They had their daughter, but
congrats, Carl.
Well, they're in Austin, and I do believe that there were concerns as of late last night, and I'm gonna reach out to him right now. The daughter was okay, but when you're delivering a baby in this environment, obviously there's some things, and probably is it in NICU with the daughter? I'm going to reach out to Carl. He's a beloved and loyal listener like many of you, and I need to check on Carl, but they did have the baby, and I do want to hope that everything's okay. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Are you in the market for a new home? Or are you trying to sell your home? Well, you need to call my good buddy Lance Donaldson and the Donaldson family team, brokered by eXp Realty. Or just go online to lancedonaldson.exprealty.com or give him a call, 254-214-3713. Lance is a fantastic listener. He's going to hear everything you have to say. He's going to take it in, and he's going to help you find that dream home. Looking for a home, if you've done it, if you know what I'm talking about, it's hectic. You want to know everything that's going on. You want to be able to deal with someone who can explain it to you. There's all things that pop up that you're unexpected. Lance can do that for you. He's a great guy. You're going to love spending time with him looking for houses. So just give him a call, 254-214-3713, or online at lancedonaldson.exprealty.com.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Dr. Kent Petty wants you to be the highest performance man you want to be. Are you sluggish, lack energy? Do you suffer from low sex drive? Petty Clinic Low T offers discounted comprehensive lab work to check on your various levels that can make a difference. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy and stamina and improved sex drive, but also the healthiest and high performance man. Screening for cardiac heart disease risk, EKG, cholesterol panel, blood pressure monitoring, testosterone or growth hormone deficiency, male infertility, hepatitis C, and prostate cancer screening. Petty Clinic Low T offers replacement therapy for testosterone or growth hormones, weight management therapy, and nutritional advice. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy, stamina, and improved sex drive, but the healthiest and highest performance man. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com on Old Hewitt Road, just off Highway 84 in Woodward. PettyClinicLowT.com.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with John Machota of The Athletic, brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Here's Elliott on 2nd and 4, first down and more. Stays upright. Touchdown, Elliott.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments, with financial advisor Brad Wilson. Investing his time and experience back to you and your money during today's changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
News from the ACC, potential news from the SEC, maybe Monday news in the Big 12. Maceo Teague back at Baylor. Rangers lead right now 2-0, and Lance Lynn's throwing some darts again. Among other stories, Joe Kelly, people angry he's been suspended, and some think that he's an idiot. And then, well, there's the NFL and the opting out. And hey, I just saw Lane Johnson's on the COVID list.
Yeah.
Eagles offensive lineman, who's really good. John Machota of theathletic.com joins us on the Cowboys and the NFL on SicEm365 Radio. John, thank you very much for the weekly segment you give us. So this opting out, the Cowboys have been fortunate, very fortunate. It's been a couple of guys, I'm not trying to say bit players, But, man, you look around the league, Damian Williams of Kansas City, an offensive lineman, a starter. This is kind of almost like a war of attrition before they've even played.
It is, and it makes me think of just once they start playing, how are you going to avoid this? You see what happened with the Marlins. That's the thing. Right now, with like I can just speak on the Cowboys because that's the one team that I get a little peek behind the scenes with, and with them so far, the only players inside the facility are the rookies and guys that are staying at the hotel that's basically on the campus of the Star in Frisco. And so, we got a chance to talk to Tyler Biadasz today, the rookie center, a fourth-round pick out of Wisconsin, who will be competing for that starting center spot. And he was saying that all he does is basically he's in the facility and then he goes across the street and goes to bed. There's really nothing to do. So that's good. If you're a coach or a member of a team, that's what you want. But that's easier said than done. If you start playing games and going on the road, it's the keeping these guys together. I believe you can keep these guys in a bubble. That's obviously looks like it's working for the NBA. I believe you can keep these guys together, and from going out, you got a chance. I believe that's a lot easier said than done. And so, you got some guys opting out right now. Not any big names. Maurice Canada is one who I thought would compete for one of the corner spots on the roster. But he's one, and it just makes me wonder going forward, what if a guy gets it and then, he might be asymptomatic. He comes back in a couple of weeks, but then does he not want to play after that? Because maybe he feels like, hey, I didn't think I could get this. I got it now. This is too dangerous. I'm out. And that stuff could happen. So nothing that they're saying right now is a guarantee at this point. Everyone is just kind of feeling their way through it. Hopefully the one thing, though, is that they can take things from that NBA is doing, that Major League Baseball is doing, that the NHL are doing, and maybe use some of that stuff to kind of help them. But there's still so many questions that need to be answered here that just no one has the answers to.
For the Cowboys, if they don't have players that opt out, though, does that, especially the Giants just lost their left tackle and Nate Solder today. Their starters all across the league sitting this thing out. Does this now become a race to see whose starters don't opt out?
So when talking to Tyler Biadasz today, he was asked what has been Mike McCarthy's message to the team. And so one of the things he mentioned was how it's about being smart right now. And it's not just, we're not preparing for football. We're also preparing for COVID-19. There's more than one opponent that they have to worry about. And you're right. It could be one of those things where it could come down to just what teams are healthier, which teams, handle themselves better and prepare themselves better and stay the healthiest. That could be the difference between a team that, makes the playoffs and a team that doesn't. It just makes you wonder, things that they're going to do during the season, because, I just keep looking at this Marlins thing. When I woke up, whatever it was, a couple mornings ago, and I saw the Marlins had 12 guys, 14 guys, that really, that was a scary sign there for the NFL, because it's man, if these guys can't stay healthy and they've barely been playing baseball for a week, how are NFL teams going to do this for a 16-game season? So it could come down to just which teams execute the best, which teams have the most disciplined players that stay home, don't go out, don't go to restaurants, don't go to clubs, don't go get chicken wings at strip clubs, all that stuff. Whatever team can be the most disciplined, that could be the difference on making a run. Maybe that is the Cowboys. I'll throw this out here. This is kind of wild, but if you're the Cowboys, why not possibly have Andy Dalton just quarantine and stay away from the team the entire season unless he's needed? He's the backup quarterback. I understand that, there could be games where if Dak got hurt during the game, then you'd want to bring him in. But why not have this guy that he's healthy, he's a veteran, he knows what he has to do, and then you don't have to worry about potentially, because these quarterbacks are so close to each other during the season. What if Andy Dalton gets it and then gives it to Dak? And then what are they doing on Sundays? Ben DiNucci starting? Is some guy off the street starting? There's just a lot of things that have to be factored in here.
If you've checked out John's Twitter page within the last hour, John, you posted an interesting picture of these monitors that players are wearing. Is this like a, hey, you're within 6 feet of me type of thing, so it beeps? What's the story with these wristbands?
Yeah, so they're a type of GPS that it sounds like it's similar to, the players wear these different GPS units in the back of their shoulder pads during practice, and it can monitor heart rate and other things. So you can find out, how much a guy's been worked, different things so you can monitor them. So maybe you can limit the chance of injury and a guy doesn't get overworked during the week, and so he's ready for Sunday. Now they have these monitors that they're wearing on their wrists that they will beep and they flash if you get too close to another player. Obviously, those won't be worn once they go out on the field. But they're not going to be out on the field doing anything in terms of competing with pads on for another few weeks. So this is more for in the building, so that these guys aren't getting too close to each other. And I don't know if the ones that the Cowboys have do this, but I've heard across the league something that, the idea of wearing these bracelets and these monitors is also because I think there's a way that you can track who you've been around because of these. And so if the player gets it, then you can basically plug this thing into a computer and it'll automatically spit out like who has this player been around. So then the players that might need to be tested.
Wow.
Because they might be around another player. So I don't know if these ones specifically have that capability, but I know that that's something that, not only the NFL, but other leagues were experimenting with.
How much that is that like a $2,000 watch? I mean, what is it? Like a Rolex or something? How much something like that? Not that the NFL has money they can just spend wisely, but they have millions and billions of dollars. I'm curious. Do you know how much those cost?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it's just kind of like with the ones that they wear during practice during the week. I think they're made by a company called Catapult, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe that company makes these things too, and it's part of the deal where these teams are trying anything right now. Maybe they get them, probably in bulk. They probably get a deal on them or whatever. But I know that the helmet companies have to find ways to try and make some masks. I'm sure like the clothing, the Nike and that stuff are going to try and find ways to make some type of gear that, guys can wear to maybe cover up their arms, legs, and things like that. And, different kinds of gloves, face shields. I think everyone, no matter what business in you're right now, you're trying to find a way to try and get in the market of producing something that helps in this. And so maybe because they're, maybe the NFL teams are trying this, maybe they get a deal on them because of it. But, like you said, it's the Cowboys. They should be able to afford it. But I'm not sure how much they are.
John, I saw you made your first pass at the 53-man roster last week. What was the hardest position for you to figure even before all this opting out and whatnot?
For me, it's really corner, and it's just because there's just a lot of variables there. I think it's easy to pencil in the veteran guys with like Anthony Brown and Joby Awuzie and Jordan Lewis, and then the two, high draft picks and Reggie Robinson and Trayvon Diggs. But then after that, you have like Daryl Worry, who's a guy that is a veteran. Do they try and keep him? Do they keep one less safety, and then possibly, with Cheeto having the ability to play some safety too? Because the way I had him keeping 11 defensive backs, and I think that's a little bit too much. I had him go 11 DBs and only 3 running backs, and I did that because I just don't know who else would really get time if Zeke and Tony Pollard and Jameis Olawale are healthy. Like the other guy isn't getting any really. Is it really not taking up a roster spot of value? And so, and then I also went with 3 quarterbacks with Danucci taking it because, again, this COVID-19, I really do think you need to keep at least one quarterback away from everyone else, just so you have a quarterback that can be healthy if you need be that you find out like 2 days before a game, hey, our quarterback's out. So I haven't gone 3 quarterbacks, but it was really the defensive backs because generally, they keep 6 corners, 4 safeties, so you get 10 in that group. I don't know. I think they go a little bit heavy there, maybe keep 11. But that would probably be the toughest one because on both the offensive and defensive line, I think they're pretty cut and dry. There might be one spot in the bubble, but mostly across the board, it's pretty straightforward. It's the guys that you would think would make this team. So not too many that are hard. I mean, there's obviously people that disagree here or there on some. I mean, going only 3 at running back seems kind of thin, but I think they went into last year 53 with 11 or 12 offensive linemen, and nobody saw that coming. So it's all about keeping your best players away from other teams, and so maybe they go a little bit heavier at corner.
Outside the obvious of it answers a question, what is the significance of Antoine Woods agreeing to that deal yesterday?
It's interesting because we've kind of been sitting there wondering what's going on with him. That we knew the exclusive rights tender was out there, but it was just kind of strange that it hadn't been signed yet, So it was like, I mean, I know Antoine Woods wants to play, and so kind of it was like, well, what's going on here? So he signed that, so he's on the team for this season. That defensive tackle position is really interesting to me because if Jason Garrett's still here with Rod Marinelli, Antoine Woods is competing for a starting spot. And not to say he's not competing for one now, but this guy started 25 games over the last 2 years, and there's all this talk in the offseason about with the new coaching staff, they want to get bigger at defensive tackle. So they go out there and they sign Gerald McCoy. They sign Don Terry Poe. They draft Neville Gallimore in the 3rd round. You have Kristen Hill, who drafted last year in the 2nd round. So where does Antoine Woods fit in there? So he's an interesting guy to watch. I mean, he's a hard worker. He's a big, like, run stopper in the middle there. They obviously need that. When the Cowboys have been good, 2016, 2018, they've been top 5 running defense. They weren't a top 5 running defense last year. So whatever they do at D tackle, as long as they're better, on their run defense, that's what you're looking for there. I think the pressure still going to come from the outside guys, but there's going to be a lot of moving around there. And then also there's Tyrone Crawford that can play defensive tackle. So that's an interesting position that we would know so much more about it if there was a regular off season. But because these guys haven't hit the field, it's going to kind of be everything's going to be thrown together in a few weeks. So it's going to be interesting. There are definitely a lot of position battles like that are going to be worth monitoring.
John, how do you cover them?
Well, it's tough because of the fact that I can tell you, I just don't see us going in the locker room.
Yep.
Anytime within the next year, whether it's after games, practice, whatever. It's going to be a lot of stuff done on the phone, WebEx calls, conference calls, things like that. At very most, or they might make a coach available where we would have to stand so far away after a practice. But it seems like, we'll be able to go to some practices during training camp. Won't be anything like we were able to do in Oxnard, obviously, which is my favorite part of the job, so that really sucks. But that'll be very limited. Probably just stand off to one side and won't be able to go near any players. And then, I believe we'll be able to cover the games, but it certainly won't be like how it was in the past. Because, again, they're not going to make any players available. And so it'll be a lot of, trying to cover as best you can from the stands and just try and – my whole goal is to just provide any nuggets of behind the scenes stuff of just this odd, year that we're going to be looking at. That's really what I'm trying to do. And then, trying to get players on the phone because you're not going to be able to get them, in person anymore. And so that's going to be tough to do because even when you're in the locker room, you got to sometimes talk these guys into wanting to talk. It's not like they sit there and they just welcome you over to the locker room and go, hey, what do you want to know today? So to get a guy to call you back, things like that, it's tougher than just being able to kind of, get a guy in the locker room. So it's going to make it tougher, but it'll be interesting. We'll figure out ways, but my thing is I just hope eventually it'll get back to the way it was before. I hope that this isn't the beginning of the way things are going to be going forward, and that we'll never be in the locker rooms ever again. And they're just going to bring players out. That for fans, you just won't get the access that you did before. There would be a lot of stuff that would be kept behind the scenes.
John, I think for this year only, what they should do is they should take, let's how many luxury boxes they have that nobody will be sitting in, and just, pick the top, let's say, I don't know how many of us. I'm just trying to get to a number that would include me in this, but and let us sit just alone in a luxury box and cover the game.
I'm very interested to see how they do that because I don't see how they would put us in the regular press box because, most stadiums are like AT&T where they're closed off. Why would you want to have people in a closed off press box? You would think that you'd be better seated out in the stands, almost like how they make the extra runoff for like Super Bowls where they're generally in the upper bowl and stuff like that. That would make the most sense to me. I don't understand why we would be in the press box, but yeah, hey, if they want to let us sit in the suites that no one's using, I'm all for that too.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, man, John. You're getting closer. It's getting closer, even though the way we cover is not easy. You're doing a great job from how you are able to cover. Appreciate your time. John Machota, TheAthletic.com, covers the Cowboys and the NFL. When we come back, an update of stories. Man, this is a day where there might be 5 to 7 big stories from the conferences who are trying to figure out what to do now for college football because we're on the edge of that starting. From McLennan County last night to Maceo Teague and Dylan Doyle. And this is a big day. Joe Kelly.
Rangers suck.
Oh, Lord.
The in left field today, they've got this rookie, Adolis Garcia, and he hit like 35 home runs in Memphis last year, so I'm very curious to see him play. He just had a chance to throw a guy out at home. He overshot it, but kid's got a cannon.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, there was a play in that, I don't know what game. It was a Rangers game. No. It was somebody else. But it was a right fielder. Ball went off the wall. He got too close to the wall, bounces back, and he picks it up, and he tries to throw the cutoff, who's 20 feet in front of the guy. And he hits the ground. He throws the ball into the ground. And a pretty decent throw would have been a close play at the plate. And that's a right fielder. All right, well, let's come down and break down some of these stories. My goodness. And the text line has been very active today. Oh, even on the monitoring device, The 6, 7, 8, Apple and Google have already made the structure possible, either their OS systems. Nothing in the United States has been announced, but maybe private.
Yeah, I mean,
how much does it cost, though?
I mean
an Apple Watch is $300.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically an Apple Watch is what I was figuring it to be, as along that line of technology. So, yeah, like $300.
All right, privacy preserving contact tracing. It'd be interesting. Okay, this is SicEm365 Radio. IdealMRI.com. Even in this day and age where you still have to have things that, first of all, I had the experience of Ideal MRI. I had the experience because Dr. Rob Maxey said, hey, is there something that we could take a picture of that hurts? And, I mean, I think at the age of 61, there's always something, right? There's always something. And so I'd had my left shoulder that's always been kind of struggling since I was even in high school. And so they took an MRI of my left shoulder. They also did many things as far as setting up the appointment, which was so easy. And sometimes that can get complicated. When I got there, the paperwork was not overwhelming. And the woman at the front, she was fantastic. The specs and the text that were great to explain to me, this is what we're going to do. Calm me down in case I was a little bit nervous about claustrophobia. Because sometimes if you have any of that, getting inside of an MRI machine when that machine's like about an inch from your nose can be a little bit unnerving, especially when your entire body's in this state-of-the-art MRI machine. Never had a problem. It was fantastic. And got the pictures, and I got the response back from Dr. Rob Maxey very quickly. I sent it to Dr. David Haynes at Southwest Sports Medicine, another sponsor of ours, because he's the one that did my rotator cuff and bicep 5 years ago. It was so simple. The respect of what they do. They can lower your costs, sometimes thousands of dollars less of cost of an MRI. Think about that. They can get your MRI cost in under $500, but you got to ask them. And you also, if you have insurance, they'll help you with that. They also have the ability, if you want, to also pay it out, installments. IdealMRI.com in the Central Texas marketplace, changing and also making sure they take care of you when you need to be taken care of. IdealMRI.com. How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday, 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday, 7 to 7. And personal trainers, Christy London and Randall Corley. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna. And now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere. And yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
It's summer. Time to go somewhere in a new Jeep from Allen Samuels. It's our huge summer clearance event featuring 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days on our hottest models. Pick a new 2020 Jeep Cherokee Latitude with $5,750 in total values or 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or the fun 2020 Jeep Renegade with up to $7,000 in total values or 0% for 72. Adios 2020s from Allen Samuels.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma. And they have to come here. They're used to lights. They're used to water in their mouth. They're used to experience. They already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8-year-old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The SicEm365 Radio poll is brought to you by Pickup Outfitters, where everything purchased and installed comes with our famous lifetime installation guarantee and free warranty assistance. 220 Lake Air Drive or createacommotion.com.
All right, here we go. We'll have Jeff Traylor, UTSA head football coach, momentarily. But, Craig, 2 or 3, if you can, and we'll have Jeff. He's getting ready. But, yeah, Maceo Teague, Dylan Doyle, and a couple of the stories from today.
Yeah, Maceo Teague's announced that he'll be back at Baylor with Scott Drew and the Hoops team next year. So there's one of those decisions we were waiting on. Jared Butler still waiting his decision at this point. But no, Maceo Teague's back. So that team is loaded for bear and could be even better. Dylan Doyle, linebacker transfer from Iowa. Watch out for the dog. Dylan Doyle, linebacker transfer from Iowa, has been granted immediate eligibility at Baylor, so he can play this year. And that's obviously huge news for their linebacking core. And what else did you mention?
Well, the SEC apparently
yes.
has at least looked at a conference only, plus maybe one. Big 12 will know things by Monday night, perhaps. And then the ACC has a 10-game schedule that will include Notre Dame in the conference.
And Notre Dame can play in the conference title game. So they are full-fledged members of the ACC for this season. And I did see a note where they are going to revenue share their NBC TV money.
Wow.
They're going to be sharing that with the ACC. So that's why the ACC would be all for this.
I'm surprised they had to give in.
Yeah.
2-2 Rangers and Diamondbacks in the 7th. We're now joined by the head football coach at UT San Antonio, the Roadrunners. Get the birds up, right? Jeff Traylor. How we doing, man?
I'm good. I've actually got to be on the football field for 5 days out of the last 6. That's been different.
And is that the first time you've had that? Did you have any spring drills at all before the shutdown?
First time I've been on the field with my guys the entire time I've had the job. So it's been a great 5 out of the last 6 days.
How much fun is that, Coach, just to be with the players?
As long as I've been doing this business, which is now going on year 31, the students are always a blast. It's the adults that are always a pain in the tail, to be honest with you.
Wait a minute. We're not in high school anymore. Is that still the case in college?
You know how it is, David. The children are wonderful. The children are wonderful.
They're resilient, and they will pretty much do what you need them to do. Jeff Traylor, head coach at UT San Antonio, with us on SicEm365 Radio.
So, Coach, in a first-year gig, I know that you've been on Zooms and you've met some of them and all that, but how are you so far with the names and everything? Have you got that down pat with knowing everybody so far?
Oh yeah, I'm really adamant about that with our entire staff. When we got hired, I didn't go out and recruit immediately. The most important players on my roster were already on my roster, so I stayed in the weight room with those guys. And I didn't get on out in the community to recruit till noon. I'd recruit till night and get back in the weight room with my guys. So I already knew all my players' names, and that's something I'm going to hold all my coaches accountable to. We're going to know everybody. I'm going to walk on to the best player on the team.
Coach, it's been a while since you were the head coach of your own program. I mean, you're associate head coach with SMU and Arkansas the last few years, but been a little while since you were the man in charge there at Gilmer. What's it just like to be running your own program once again?
I'm thrilled to be back in that chair again, no doubt. When you're an assistant, you get paid to make recommendations, and when you're the head coach, you get paid to make decisions. So that's the biggest difference. I've always had the heart of an assistant coach. I've been an assistant for 15, and I've been a head coach for 15, and I'm going on year 31. So I've got a good 50-50 split, and I don't mind, deciding where the decision needs to be made, where the buck stops. But I'm never going to lose the heart of an assistant, and I've got some great assistants. I'm glad to be back in that chair again.
Do you understand when you're on a Zoom meeting that you don't have to scream at the laptop screen?
Jordan, Jake, and JC, my 3 children, were all home during that entire time, which was a blessing, but also a curse because I got put outside on my porch, where I am currently, by the way. They're all gone. But I'm sweating right back here because they said I holler at the screen. But ironically, David, I know that's why you brought it up. Every one of my assistant coaches got banished to their porches by their children. They say we all holler. So it's not just me that does it, I guess.
Hey,
that's not what I heard. But
I don't trust coaches that don't get a little loud.
Yeah, we're already finding out who are some of the leaks in your system, by the way, with that knowledge of you screaming at. So when did Carrie banish you to the back porch?
It was only about, I'd say 7 days in. You know, it wasn't just hers when I got tag teamed on. When Jason jumped on board, it became, that. And then, of course, Jordan, my oldest son, who coaches with the Saints, he's doing his Saints deal. My son, Jake, is, at A&M and doing internships. So he's got it going on. And somehow Dad got put outside while there's Zoom meetings. He's got to stay inside.
Oh, God. That doesn't surprise me at all. How do you have bird feeders in the backyard? Anything like that to watch while you're doing? Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell Kurt, you must have got in touch with Kurt. I just filled them up, actually. I've been back here so long. I got tired. The great thing about a Zoom meeting, you can act like you're really listening to everybody. Your eyes are really like over the top of it. So I've got 3 bird feeders. I got a hummingbird feeder. I've got like a big round one, and I've got more of a stacked one. The deal I'm dealing with now, though, is squirrels, and I found a YouTube video on how to help me get the squirrels off my bird feeder. So anybody that has those great recommendations, I'll take all the advice I can get.
We do have the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line, so if you got any bird nest suggestions,
any squirrels, keep the squirrels off the bird feeders. How do you do that? At 254-339-1122.
Hey, Coach, I know you've had a lot of success in recruiting during your college tenure. You obviously had a lot of kids from Gilmer that were recruited and went on to the next level. How are you recruiting right now? How different and difficult is it? I mean, not only the communication and the lack of in-person, but I would think, just the ability to identify guys with no camps and things like that as well. How difficult has that been?
I think it's really helped us. I think it's been a benefit just because I know I know some way or another I'm connected to every high school coach in the state of Texas, whether it's a personal relationship or working with somebody that worked with them or coaching somebody that played for them. There's always a connection. So we've gotten some real great insight, real great information, and I think it's been a benefit. Now, the Zooms and all that kind of stuff have been difficult. And, it's just common sense. You're trying to create the very best thing on the computer that you can do and show how great of a facility we have being built here right now in the Alamo Dome, the city of San Antonio. It's pretty easy to sell San Antonio the Alamo Dome and a $47 new building that's being built right now for our athletes to be in. So that's a pretty easy sell.
Well, it's amazing because you are full throttle, stick your head in the tank of gasoline and light it with a match. You've always been that way. You've also kept up. You mentioned high school coaches. You saw what happened yesterday evening with McLennan County, with a bunch of coaches banded together to try to say, "Hey, we can be as healthy and safe with these children, these players as anyone can. Instead of them running out to the lake or doing whatever they might be doing." The camaraderie of coaches in this state, even those who want to beat the hell out of each other, what's that like?
Well, I mean, I kept up with Coach Hyde and all that during that time, and it doesn't surprise me at all. We've been battling this forever. Are you telling me it's not better for those children to be in place with those high school coaches, following those safeguards? You think those kids are really going to stay home when you turn 16 to 18-year-old young men loose with nothing to do during the day? They're just going to go out and play 7-on-7 and be playing their club sports where no one's enforcing that stuff. So 100% agree with what's going on with Texas high school coaches, 100% support, because they really care about the child. And I know that's going to be debated, and I just know for a fact what those guys' hearts are like and how they love their players. They're going to practice social distancing. They're going to take care of those children. And I'm so proud of what those guys have done. The leadership of THSCA and UIL, spot on as always.
I know that you're not someone who's patient when it comes to wins and losses. You also got to be close with former Baylor head coach and now Carolina Panthers head coach Matt Rule, who said he wanted to build something even though it was only 3 years, but he wanted to do it right from the beginning to the bottom level, which might help Dave Aranda and his staff now. How patient are you in making sure you build this not with maybe just like straw, but with concrete and boulders?
Matt's been fantastic through this whole time. I know it doesn't surprise anybody. He's still there and gives me unbelievable advice. And he literally told me it's going to be the longest 18 months of my life. And every day I get through one, just mark it off because you got to lay that foundation. So it's a hard deal to do. Obviously, at the time he gave me that advice, we didn't know we were going to be dealing with COVID and the social, unrest that's going on in our country and an election and all that stuff that's happening right now. But it's, we all know how this deal. When you do things right, when you do things right, that's all you got to do, Dave. At the end of the day, did your decision honor God, and did it help you get closer to winning a ball game? And if those two things happened, you made a good decision. If those two things were not in alignment, you made a bad decision. End of story.
Coach, what was that like, knowing how well you got to know Matt Rule? What was it like to see, because you talked to him on a different level than most people outside of his inner circle, to see him go through what he did with all of the negativity and everything like that, the doubts, to then what they did last year? I'm sure you had a pretty big smile on your face for your friend.
David can tell you he was in on this from the very beginning. From the very first time I interviewed Matt Rule, I told David, this guy's going to be a rock star. I just loved him. I fell in love with him immediately, as everybody else did. He's been totally open and transparent. There are very few guys in my life I've met like him. And I was thrilled for him and rooted for him. Him and Joey McGuire and all those guys on that staff, which I'm so close to so many of them. They do it right. From David Wetzel, there's tons of good old THSCA guys on there. Matt, a lot of guys give lip service to THSCA. Matt Rule totally embraced it. You know why? Because he knows they're about the right stuff, and Matt's about the right stuff. So thrilled for him. I'll be rooting for him from a distance like always, and couldn't be happier for him.
Have they let you guys know at all what the conference plan is for Conference USA this year?
No, so they haven't. We're kind of taking a wait-and-see approach, just kind of waiting to see what the SEC, ACC, Big 12 do. And I'm sure our commissioner will do a great job of taking care of us when that time comes.
We did see today that the SEC, at least there's reports that they might look at a conference-only schedule. You have LSU off the top. You want them, don't you? I know you. You want to play them and figure out. I mean, it doesn't matter. You want to go meet them, play them, be in Baton Rouge, whatever, give your kids that experience. Would that disappoint you if that game is canceled?
In 2000, you probably could have got me to bite on that question, David. It's been 20 years later. I'm not that same Jeff Traylor used to trick me to saying whatever you want to back in the day. In a Zoom meeting, we'd be hell on wheels. We'll take them on Zoom all day and every day.
Okay. Yeah. So, in other words, you're not going to lose any sleep over September 5th then, right?
I'm going to let the guys control those things that I don't have control of. We're going to pass that one right off.
Such
Coach talk.
Oh, my God. That's so unlike you.
From our friend Tootal Hall, by the way. We got some squirrel answers for you, Coach.
Yeah, we have a squirrel solution possibly for you.
Yes. So a former NASA engineer named Mark Rober became a bird watcher. He sat at a bird feeder, and he tried several different versions, couldn't get rid of the squirrels, but each time the squirrels were smarter than the feeders and their owner. So Rober decided to create the ultimate backyard squirrel obstacle course to get like walnuts and all this stuff. He built like a.
Hey, I don't want to cut in. I've watched it 3 times. Tell him the home record's my favorite part of that, where he had the beautiful squirrel dressed up with blonde hair. That was the best one. Home record all the way. I've already watched it 3 times. Next, please. I need to. Right. That was fantastic.
I know you got to get going back to more important things than being with us, but we're sure appreciate you being a part of the show. Craig?
Hey, Coach, I was just wondering, do you know Dave Aranda at all? Have you all crossed paths at all over the years?
Yeah, our feelings got hurt because somebody sent me an article of the new hires, like the most handsome guys, and they had me and Dave at the back, and I think it's just a prejudice against our bald heads. Yeah. So I wear my cap everywhere so nobody gets confused. He's incredibly classy man. Ran into him on the road recruiting. He's recruited my kids through the years. Great defensive football coach, but even a better human. And he's a great football coach, too.
Do you know who you are as a football team? Is that even possible, no matter how much came back from last year? Do you have an idea who you are?
No, we don't have an identity yet. I know this. We've got some really good guys in our volunteer workouts. Our kids, 99 of them are there all summer long. And they're so thrilled to be back on the football field and be coached. That I don't know how we're going to be with wins and losses. We're going to be a tough out, David. We're going to be a tough out. I know that.
My last question, and it's not an easy one, is the story of Bryce Strong, of Bryce Wisdom, who passed away earlier this week. Gives me goosebumps. I know the story. John Elizondo in San Antonio used to work in Waco, did the story about him. He passed away earlier this week, passed with a courageous battle against cancer. What did he represent, and what did he mean to you in the program?
You know, Coach Kevin Brown is my DFO. He told me how incredible Richard and Diana, his parents were, and Rashad was one of my players. And he wanted me to go to the hospital to see Bryce. I went, and he's just one of those kids. He literally captured my heart. And on my birthday, David, he was the first guy to text me happy birthday. On Father's Day, he was the first guy to text me happy Father's Day. And, I mean, he was just that person. Rashad and I went to do an interview on another campus, and we were driving back. I said, Rashad, let's just call Bryce. He always talks smack about Rashad. And Bryce didn't even know Rashad was in my truck. And he immediately was like, hey, how's my fat brother doing right now? And Rashad's like, hey, Bryce, you can't be calling me fat. He's just that kid. The only time I never got to speak to him because he was Saturday, and I knew he was in trouble. I love him. I'm going to miss him. Our players have practiced their tails off the last couple of days. Everybody should be Bryce Strong. I mean, his smile, his life, his spirit, he did more for this earth than so many people are going to do in their entire 80 to 90-year life.
No question. By the way, Kevin Brown played football at Midway. We've had him on back when he was on staff earlier back in his career, and it's nice to have him on your staff again. Hey, Jeff, thank you. I know you got a lot to do. Appreciate you, man. Love you. Be good. Good luck, okay?
You guys have always been the best. Appreciate what y'all do for kids and for coaches. Appreciate you, Dave and Craig.
Jeff Traylor with Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, and David Smoke on SicEm365 Radio. You want to know why he was good at recruiting? Yeah, we just heard.
I think Paul just committed actually to UTSA.
That's it.
God,
I don't know if he had eligibility left, but hey,
his deal about 20 years ago you could have tricked me into saying that when you used to get me to say things I didn't want to say.
Well, I really liked that hire for UTSA. He's a guy that's been bubbling up and being groomed, now for the last several years. He was on that Texas staff there for a little while. Had the experience at Arkansas and SMU as well. So, he's been around some pretty good coaches, from Tom Herman to Chad Morris and many of the, other assistant coaches and things like that. But he's been in big conferences for many years now, been in big games. He's seen how it works behind the scenes and whatnot. And he's, a very, very successful high school football head coach who's had a very successful transition into the college game. And now we'll see if he can transition successfully into the head coach role in college. But, I mean, if you know the history of Jeff Traylor, I don't think you're betting against him at all.
No, he'll win.
I'll tell you, and this is the highest compliment come from me, he's got a very Bowden-esque quality of where he's not uptight. Like, that's something like – I think the coaches that make it a long time in the business are the ones who can loosen – like, here he's doing radio interviews. He's just having fun.
Right, yeah.
Like, just have fun. Kick back. Nothing's the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna give up my source of Kurt Traylor as someone who helped me about some of the things that blood is deeper than a sportscaster and coaches. Now, man, that was good. That was really, really good. So we appreciate Kurt Traylor's inside information. Kevin Brown, former Midway guy.
I went and looked at their roster to see if there was any local kids to ask about, but I mean, then again, with the lack of time they've had with him so far, I don't know how many opinions have really been formed at this point. But they typically usually have one or two Waco kids on the roster, but do not this year. So
a couple years ago they had like 4.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different than it was a couple years ago. You're right, but no, they'll have some overtime, and I'm sure we'll talk to him again. So it'll be great.
Oh dear God, Brian Etheridge is back into the trimming of a tri-tip and the marinade and all that stuff. He is in love with Waco Custom Marketplace, as he should be. So man, all right, man, what a day it's been. If we would have just said we have Maceo Teague, Scott Drew, and Jason King today, along with a couple of the high school coaches, that's good. And then to add the other mix of what we had has been fantastic. And I thought the Royce O'Neal note from Maceo Teague on Royce O'Neal, who's with Utah, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
In the bubble down in Orlando, kind of giving him a little bit of advice. Thought that was such a great note.
So it's been such a great day, and we've had great guests. But Baseball season can go away for all I'm concerned. I mean, I liked it when I was staring at a blank TV and not the Rangers giving up a 2-0 lead to now trail 3-2. But that's what's happening right
and
now.
they have like 3 hits. They can't.
They cannot hit.
But, well, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
that's the way baseball go.
I guess I would rather watch bad baseball than no baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm used to it as a Rangers fan. That's what I watched for most of the time I grew up.
Yeah, Rougned Odor on what would have been at least an out, a force out, botched kind of a control from one to glove to his hand, then tried to throw the first. He's late because Bachman or whatever the guy is runs fast. And then there's a ball back to the pitcher, Minor, who panics and throws the ball in the dirt.
As Lynn.
No, I'm talking about in a game over the weekend. Like the same inning, he throws the ball in the dirt, gets by the catcher. Here comes like Little League ring around the rosy.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's just working out the kinks. And, man, it really is odd, the season starting off the way that it has and just kind of
how much do you think it would cost me to get a cardboard cutout next to George W. Bush?
I don't know, but my thought got cut off mid-sentence because I started staring at those cutouts as I was talking because it does actually look pretty real. I mean, if you get close enough to TV, it's clearly not real and nobody's moving. But as far as like the side shots where you get like the third baseline in the background, if you're not really paying close attention, it doesn't look that bad.
Yeah.
It looks better than empty seats, that's for sure.
I asked this earlier, Paul, has anyone hit a home run or foul ball and like knocked the head off?
I watched a Mets-Red Sox game the other day. I think it was Monday night, and somebody ripped a foul ball down the third baseline, and it hit somebody's cardboard cutout, and the head just like
clink. Yeah. Yeah, well, if you're I wonder if they have somebody like roaming around the stadium for foul balls. Or maybe they just have the cleaning crew.
Yeah, is there like a girl on the
No, so like when somebody hits a home run, they've got a guy, and he just runs out there and gets it and puts it in a bag and brings it back.
I wonder if he has like 3 or 4 balls already out there, so if it's like a big-time player hits a home run, that he can kind of
switch it,
keep it.
Be smart.
This is from TJ. The Rangers have 5 players batting under 200. Kalefa, what's his name?
Isaiah Kiner-Falefa
is the best hitter right now with an average of 286. TJ asked this question: do you think Young or Wenzel would get a call up? And the problem is, Paul,
they're not in the pool.
Yeah,
they're not in the pool.
They're not in the pool, but they're not even playing anyway.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Wow, 286 for Kalefa.
Well,
is it Kalefa?
Kiner-Falefa, yes.
Yeah.
Probably want to learn that. He's going to be a pretty.
No, he was my guy.
Yeah,
I liked his name.
You talked about him a
lot.
By
the way,
but...
speaking of cardboard cutouts, I just saw a tweet. Softy has one at the Mariners.
Does he really? And then this is from
screaming.
Carl Campbell. The best cardboard part of a home run was hit a dog in the mouth as if he caught it. By the way, I do have an update, and I don't think Carl will mind me doing this. Remember I mentioned earlier that he had a baby Reagan. We're better. Mom was just released from the hospital. Literally just got her in a wheelchair to go see our precious little girl at NICU. This is baby Reagan is doing better. Still have, not completely clear because of just the health risks that are out there right now. Thanks for your concern and prayers. It's helping more than you guys know. That's Carl Campbell, one of the great listeners of SicEm365 Radio.
Well, congratulations, Carl, and hope it continues to get better and better, but congratulations on the new one.
When we come back, SicEm365 Radio, Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, I'm David Smoke. Back in a moment.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. Tell you about them every single day, and here we are. It's July 29th, and that means that you're about to miss out on the opportunity to get some pretty good deals because it's been employee pricing all month long at Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. That means you pay what employees pay all month long, but again, just a couple of days left. Right now, qualified buyers can save over $7,000 on 2020 Acadias or Yukons, or you can save over $6,000 on GMC Terrains. You can also save $6,000 on a 2020 Buick Encore. Only $19,900 for the Buick Encore. It's the perfect crossover SUV. It's got a roomy interior. It's got all the latest safety features and technology. And plus, it's a pretty quiet ride as well. If you're looking for some luxury, some style, and some power all rolled into one and right inside of a brand new SUV, well, check out the line of Cadillacs, the XT4s, XT5s, or the roomier 7-passenger Cadillac XT6s right now. Experience the thrill of owning the Cadillac XT4 for only $35,900 at Richard Carr Cadillac. They've got great prices, free oil changes with a new purchase, and in-town priority warranty service, all when you purchase a car from Richard Carr. Richard Carr Motors, the people you can count on. A local family dealer run by Baylor Bear alumni. They want the chance to earn your business. So stop by their daily disinfected showroom, see their safety-focused staff, or they can bring the test drive to your home. Why? Well, because your comfort and safety is their first priority. Find them online at richardcarr.com. That's Karr. Or check them out in person, Highway 6 at the Imperial Exit.
Dr. Kent Petty wants you to be the highest performance man you want to be. Are you sluggish, lack energy? Do you suffer from low sex drive? Petty Clinic Low T offers discounted comprehensive lab work to check on your various levels that can make a difference. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy and stamina and improved sex drive, but also the healthiest and high performance man. Screening for cardiac heart disease risk, EKG, cholesterol panel, blood pressure monitoring, testosterone or growth hormone deficiency, male infertility, hepatitis C, and prostate cancer screening. Petty Clinic Low T offers replacement therapy for testosterone or growth hormones, weight management therapy, and nutritional advice. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy, stamina, and improved sex drive, but the healthiest and highest performance man. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com on Old Hewitt Road, just off Highway 84 in Woodway. PettyClinicLowT.com.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home. How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, hot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of health care while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of health care has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The SicEm365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
What a day of many different stories. Tomorrow, Dr. Jamie Harrison of the University Interscholastic League got back in touch. The UIL did with me, and he'll join us tomorrow. to discuss just maybe some moving parts and how the UIL continues to try to wade through all of these changes. Appreciate. What's the biggest story today? Maceo Teague by like 1 million?
For Baylor, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then Dylan Doyle right behind that.
Okay, nationally,
I would say
it be
nationally it's the ACC and SEC announcing some schedule, or at least some intents for some schedule plans.
All right. Okay. Yeah, and that's the good thing. Is like there's a chance you can print a schedule and look at it and like grab it, right?
Well, I find it very interesting that, for all of the talk about canceling the season and then all the talk about, canceling games and all that, with the current plan, the SEC is still playing 11 games. They're still playing 11 out of 12. So it's like for all of that talk and all the canceling and all that, they're missing one game potentially on the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just kind of nuts to me that we've run around in such circles that we've arrived at the point where we're basically just doing what it was going to be to begin with in some ways. But I'm thankful for that.
By the way, Mark's going to play Teague in the opening week. That was the original schedule.
Oh, wow.
Just got that from Kevin Hoffman. They're still working for weeks 3 and 5.
Props to Teague.
Yeah. And they were going to play him anyways. Donnie Osborne and they play good people. If you haven't really had a chance to get too much insight on the Maceo Teague commitment, if you're on SicEm365.com, obviously you get that in all throughout the premium section, Jason King and others. But we had Scott Drew to start the show, Maceo Teague an hour later, and in between Jason King. All of those are up on the pinned spot. It's SicEm365.com premium section.
Well, if you're wondering about SicEm365 premium and you haven't given it a try yet, I mean, it's the same thing basically as signing up for like Netflix, that whole subscription model. And, your subscription goes towards this radio show, goes towards supporting the platform and all of the things that we do. But, for example, if you haven't checked out Premium right now, these are just the pinned tweets. Like when you go to the Premium section, these are all the top stories that you'll see. You've got Grayson with his updated top 100 players in the state of Texas for recruiting. You've got Jason with an article on Maceo Teague returning for his senior season. You've got the Dylan Doyle story getting granted the NCAA waiver. You've got Grayson with a 2023 recruiting profile, as well as a talk with a 4-star running back out of Lancaster. Colt's got his 15 for 2020, the top playmakers on the roster. A couple more recruiting interviews. Jason with us on SicEm365 Radio. Scott Drew's